special day, John.
Is it?
It's a special day.
What's so special about today?
This is the last Rage Select podcast.
Ever?
I always said we were only ever going to do 300 podcasts, and now that we've hit number 300, this is the last one.
Oh, shit.
No, I'm just kidding. It's not the last one.
Oh.
The podcast will go on forever. There will never be a last podcast. This is going to be me with a microphone laying on the ground going, Game of Thrones, that was bad, I guess. I don't know. Nintendo said a thing. So yeah, you got that to look forward to, but probably not for at least another 100 or 200 or 400 more podcasts. So welcome everybody to number 300.
300.
Yeah, I don't know if that's like, we used to do this thing on Rage Select where, like we got really excited the first time we hit like 1 million total views on all videos and stuff like that. And now I'm like, I don't even look at that number anymore because, we put out a podcast every week. Eventually you're going to hit 300. And I tried all week to think of something like exciting to do. And I'm like, I don't know if anybody would want like Oops All Questions, the podcast. Or,
some people like that stuff.
But we don't have people like sending questions anymore. And so then like I was hoping the video game industry would do something really interesting or like pop culture would do something really interesting. But no, Randy Pitchford's an asshole and everybody hates Game of Thrones. And I'm just like, well, it's just business as usual on the internet.
Pretty much.
So we're going to have a relatively regular Rage Select podcast. The other thing is I was going to ask, it's like I asked myself this question, like, can you think of anything wonderful that's happened in the Rage Select podcast over the years that you think is especially notable in the 300 episodes that we've done?
I'm here.
John is here. John has been here for how many episodes do you estimate that you've been on? How many?
Oh, I have no idea.
Podcast episodes.
Probably close to 100, if not a little bit over.
200, 275.
All I know is I'm going to be here long enough to where I've done more podcasts than Jason Murphy, and then I'm going to quit.
Yeah. I think you might have already hit that.
Oh, well, shit, then I quit.
Oh, it's John's last Rage Select. Okay, it's John's last Rage Select podcast, everybody. Say goodbye to John, everybody.
No, I'm not quitting. I'm just joking.
Okay. I just if I die, I just want you to continue doing the podcast though. Just do like a Norman Bates and put a wig on my skeleton.
No,
and then you're just here. No,
no.
You're not doing that?
My history with podcasts is not the best right now. That's just asking for trouble.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. Anything exciting happened to you last week? I've just been doing business as usual.
Went to a live wrestling show here in Austin.
Okay.
That was fun.
Was it good?
Yeah, it was really good.
Okay.
I even on the Discord I shared apparently the best match of the night was put up for free on YouTube.
Oh, cool.
The place I went to is called a place called Wrestle Circus, which they're actually really kind of well known because they were the first indie wrestling promotion to actually put their shows live on Twitch.
Oh, okay.
So you can watch their show for free live on Twitch whenever they happen.
Nice.
And Amanda and I were like in the bottom right-hand corner of their camera.
Oh, so you can see you guys.
You can see the back of my head, yeah. But yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. A lot of chairs got thrown.
Oh yeah?
Some titles got won.
Okay.
And
sounds like
a lot of people diving out of the ring into the crowd.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun.
All right.
But yeah, if you ever want to watch it's Wrestle Circus. If you subscribe to their Twitch, you can actually view all their back catalog. But they also have a YouTube channel in which you can actually see they put up select matches online.
Did they ever like put somebody in the audience like in like a fake wig or something, and then they're just like, aha, I'm here. I will challenge you now.
I don't think they've done that, but I'm sure shows have done it.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
But also, it's an indie show, so unless you're like a hardcore wrestling fan and you are at these indie shows, you're most likely not gonna know who any of the. If someone were to do like, I'm here, and then the rest of the crowd's like, who are you? Unless it's like some big...
Unless it was just The Undertaker.
Let me rephrase that, actually. I take that back. There was an indie show in Chicago in which a masked wrestler came out and did a specific move and then left. And then it turned out that guy was CM Punk.
Like just a front flip? Or
No, he came in and did like his finishing move, the GTS, on an opponent. But he came out in a luchador mask.
Okay.
Didn't unmask himself, just left after doing the move. And then it later came out that was CM Punk.
Okay.
And everyone was like, wait, what? And it was just some random, indie show.
I swear, one thing that's happened over 300 episodes of the Rage Select podcast is that I like listening to John talk about wrestling, even though I have no desire to watch wrestling.
The video that I shared in the Discord, I actually think you would highly enjoy.
Okay.
Because it's the matches between two of my favorite indie wrestlers. Amanda's most favorite indie wrestler is a man named Jervis Cottonbelly, who is the world's sweetest man. He's great.
Okay.
And then the other opponent was the master of the lackadaisical style, Orange Cassidy.
Okay.
Which you would probably get a kick out of Orange Cassidy just because, he does stuff, whatever.
Is that all you think I am? Just somebody who does stuff or whatever?
No. The ridiculousness of some of it, you would be like, this is...
Okay.
You would have fun with it, I think.
Fair enough.
It's great. It's really, I highly recommend everyone search out Wrestle Circus either on Twitch when they're live. I know their next show is on June 23rd.
Okay.
Or go to their YouTube channel and watch.
Because you just watch it. You watch it live for free.
Yeah, you can watch it live for free. You don't even have to be in Austin. Or you can go like I do, or, and go and actually see these people in person.
And that would involve leaving the house. I don't do that much.
Yeah, plus you have to go down to 800 Congress Avenue. It's like Congress Avenue on Sunday.
Nuh-uh. Nope.
Honestly, I mean, at least parking's free on Sundays, but,
Well, true. All I did last week was I've been watching like horror movies recently.
Yeah.
And Chris from over at One of Us was like picking my brain about like recent horror movies. It's like, have you seen this? Have you seen this? And I don't watch a lot of horror movies, but he recommended Happy Death Day, which I had not watched.
Script is written by one of my most hated comic book writers.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is the only reason I've actually been as much as I hear good things about that movie.
Yeah.
It's the only reason I'm hesitant to watch it because I have hated everything he's written in comics.
Well, I really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was a very clever little twist on a horror thing.
I actually have a feeling it's probably good because he's not ruining one of my favorite characters. Instead, he's actually writing an original.
Who is it?
Scott Liddell.
Oh.
Just fucking infuriates me when his name gets announced to be on a book.
Okay.
Because he literally ruins every character he puts his hands on.
Okay. Give me one notable example.
Teen Titans, Superman. Let's see what other characters has he fucking ruined. I could go on for days, probably.
Yeah. Okay. Well, all I could say is that it was I didn't know anything about that, and it was an enjoyable movie.
Oh no! I've heard good things about it. We actually own it. It's one of the many horror movie Blu-rays that we've bought that we haven't gotten around to watching because we have a stack that we're slowly.
Yeah. And I've got the sequel is also on my.
I've heard the
list,
sequel's actually pretty good too.
Which I hear takes the formula from the first one and then actually does interesting stuff with it instead of just kind of being like, oh no, it's happening.
Here's everything again. Yeah.
Right. So. Speaking of everything happening all over again, there's a new superhero show on the CW, and it is Batwoman.
Yes.
I know very little about this, but you were saying that everybody seems very pleased.
Yeah, well, so Batwoman is from originally from the golden age of comics, and then they kind of brought her back a little bit later, right before Rebirth happened.
Yeah.
Katie Kane, if I remember correctly, is her name. She is Bruce Wayne's cousin.
Okay.
But she is another female rich daughter of a rich billionaire. Kind of thing, and then she just kind of takes up the mantle of the Bat, essentially. And in the CW show, in the CW universe, she was revealed in their Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover that they did this last season, in which they introduced her character as being Batwoman, and in a Gotham where Batman has disappeared.
Okay.
Like Batman, Bruce Wayne, both have just left. And as far as the public knows, Batman disappeared and Bruce Wayne is just off abroad in other countries.
So it's the end of the Nolan Batman movies.
Some thoughts is that they're using the end of the Nolan Batman movies, but or that element of it, but in actuality, no one knows where Bruce Wayne is. No one knows why Batman left or why Bruce Wayne left or anything.
Okay.
And so this new show is coming out, and it looks good. Like I think it looks good. I think I like the fact that I like the actress they got to play Batwoman.
Ruby Rose.
Ruby Rose. Yeah, I think yeah.
She was on Orange Is the New Black. She was in John Wick 2.
Yeah, correct.
I think those are the only places that I've really seen her.
She's also I was in Triple X: The Return of Xander Cage.
Is that the third triple?
Yeah, it's the third one.
That movie was like action, balls to the wall, and I just got bored of it.
I loved the third one.
Okay.
I loved the first one, and I love the third one. I've actually never seen the second one.
Okay.
But anyways, but yeah, this is her. It seems like they're going a little bit further back to the beginning with the show.
Yeah.
But because her appearance in that crossover, she was already Batwoman and is already kind of like established kind of thing.
Okay.
But here it's kind of like they're starting over at the very beginning of her finding out about Bruce Wayne and Batman and becoming Batwoman and everything.
I guess it's weird to me because it's just, I mean, like, to me, it looks an awful lot like a CW show. Like
it does.
Or kind of like the Netflix shows. Like, it's very dark. It's very realistic looking. You know, there's a Mad Hatter in there, but it's a lady. And I don't know. I mean, like, I like Ruby Rose all right, but I don't know. None of the CW shows have really managed to, like, catch my attention. Yeah. So,
yeah. I mean, this show, I mean, it's great, and I do appreciate that they're actually keeping with the comic book, most recent reinterpretation of the comic book for Batwoman.
Yeah.
Which is that she is a lesbian.
Yeah.
And that they're keeping that aspect of her character, and also that the flowing red hair that's in her mask is not actually her hair.
Yes.
It's a wig. Which there's a long-running joke with the fandom of the CW shows, because in the comic books, apparently her wig is so good that it fooled even Batman into thinking it was real hair. But the CW shows have a really bad track record with wigs looking like wigs.
Oh, okay.
On people. Okay. So everyone's like, that wig better be good.
Yeah, so that we got a trailer for that. I mean, we'll be seeing how that goes. And then we also got a trailer for Black Mirror season 5.
Hey,
which I don't know, John. What are your overall Black Mirror feelings?
I don't watch Black Mirror.
There you go.
I've seen maybe 2 episodes.
Okay. Well, okay. So in my opinion, one of the things that has been, like, Black Mirror has been getting weird, and I feel like a lot, or not weird, but okay, I feel like the good episodes of Black Mirror have been very good, but there have been more kind of like episodes ever since they went to Netflix and they started doing these like extended seasons. So they'll have like, because originally Black Mirror was 3 episodes a season, and then they had there was season 1, season 2, and then the Christmas special, and then they went to Netflix, and then like some of them were very good, but then others of them were just kind of like meh. I kind of like that this season is only going to be 3 episodes, which I'm hoping that means that Charlie Brooker doesn't just have to be like, I don't know, cell phones are in your eyes again, I guess. Maybe that's a thing. It does look like there's one reference to the eye tracking stuff, but he loves putting shit in people's eyes. Like, he loves little things that you put in your eyes, or you put them on your forehead, or you do something. It looks like there's 3 different stories here. One of them is the guy that played Moriarty in Sherlock. I can never remember, unless he's just sick of everybody's on social media. There's one of them that's just kind of like looks like a pop star thing, and there's one of them with Anthony Mackie, and I can't really tell what the hell is going on in that. But it's all coming out on June 5th, so soon. I'm also glad that I don't have to wait for a year and a half for this shit to come out. There's also another Netflix one. Did you see the trailer for? I didn't bring it up or anything. The my mother or something like that.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's like it's another one of their movies, and like they've just been so hit and miss. Like I liked some of their movies, but others I didn't like. But it's called. Let me see if I can find it here. It's called, it should be like The Only Thing, I Am Mother, and it's like...
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I haven't seen the trailer, but
raised by a robot, and then like, what's-her-face shows up, and it's like, oh, is the robot actually evil or not? And I don't know. I'm a big fan of sci-fi, and nobody wants to make sci-fi anymore, so,
there's a movie, I don't know if you've heard about, that Netflix got the distribution rights, and it's for the U.S. called Wandering Earth.
Oh yeah, it's like
It's a Chinese film.
movie?
It's like the highest grossing or second highest grossing Chinese film in history. it's on there, and apparently it's really good.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet.
I haven't watched it yet either, but it's on my to watch list.
It's one of those things that I'm kind of interested in, but I also worried that it's just going to be a lot of drama about what does everyone do when the world is ending, like
apparently
Melancholia or something like that.
Apparently, the reviews that I've seen have basically said, without spoiling it, it takes every trope from every disaster movie, from Independence Day to Armageddon to Deep Impact to whatever. It takes every trope of
Mega
that
Shark
genre
versus Land Octopus.
And, the end of the world, apocalyptic, Edge of whatever, The Day After Tomorrow, and things like that. Basically, all the movies that Dean Devlin and Roland Emmerich make.
Right.
It takes every trope and then amps them up to 11.
Okay.
And then adds new tropes on top of them to be the most amazing. Everyone I know is like, this is the most amazing apocalyptic disaster movie in the history of anything, and everyone needs to watch it.
Okay. We'll put that one on the list. Well, speaking of Netflix, we just got a report this week that apparently Netflix is going to be at E3 this year.
Hey, why?
Well, so apparently they're going to be doing a panel about their adaptation of specifically the Stranger Things game that they're putting out, because they're doing the third Stranger Things game, I believe, which is the first one was the phone game, the second one was kind of like an isometric top down, then there's the third one that's coming out.
Okay.
They've been fairly well reviewed.
But I played the phone game. That was fun.
But apparently they want to get more into doing video games. There's a rumor that they are thinking about independently reviving the Telltale Stranger Things series that was slated, but then never got off the ground because Telltale went under.
Yeah.
And then,
all I'll say to that is do something other than Stranger Things.
Well, so there's some interesting stuff here. In this article, some suggestions. I mean, Umbrella Academy could probably have a game.
Yeah, maybe.
Bright, maybe. Apparently, I didn't never watch it. It wasn't. I hear it wasn't
that great.
That great.
Yeah.
But the concept, though, of Grand Theft Auto with orcs. Okay, you know what?
Yeah.
I could get on board with that. If you did it well. I mean, it's someone here they talk about Black Mirror and Bandersnatch, but I don't know what a Black Mirror game would be like. It would just be, I don't know, one of those art games.
Yeah.
But who could say? If they want to get out there and make games, all I care about are the games any good. If they're making shitty games, then I don't want to play them.
I mean, shit, you can have a fucking terrible movie, and if the game's good, fuck, we'll play it.
Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't be the first time.
It's been floating around the internet a little bit recently. I think one of the websites that I look at went back and played it, but the Wanted game was okay. It was probably better to play that than to watch Wanted the movie. But
well, I mean, it was what I liked about the Wanted game is that it was a sequel to the movie.
Yeah,
it took place after the movie.
Well, plus the whole curving a bullet thing,
really works as a video game mechanic.
Yeah. I mean, it's too bad that I guess Marvel probably would have let them make any of the Defender stuff, even though that would probably work pretty well. But
yeah.
But what I'm really excited about is the adaptation of Adam Sandler's seminal classic, the Ridiculous 9 or whatever it was, Ridiculous 6, into a full video game, a full 30-hour RPG video game. But no, that's not really. Not really. You guys can't see the withering look that John is giving me.
I don't know.
Yeah. Or maybe they'll make a Cloverfield Paradox game.
You know what? Make a Cloverfield game.
Yeah.
Make a game that takes place that would actually be kind of cool. But I mean, Netflix doesn't own the rights to Cloverfield. They just license the movie.
That's true. That's true.
But I think that'd actually be really cool to make a Cloverfield game that maybe is not an adaptation of one of the movies, but is a game that takes place in that franchise.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see it. Again, I mean, as I always say, as I've been saying for months now, again, I don't care if it's a good game. If it's a game based off of Bright, which I didn't watch because it looked incredibly uninteresting, but it's a good game, then I'll be more than happy to play it.
Let's look at the Mummy movie, the one with Tom Cruise. Apparently that movie was garbage, but that game was actually kind of cool.
Yeah, the Metroidvania Mummy game.
That game was actually kind of fun. So, you can have games that are based on shit movies that actually end up being like good.
Yeah.
And then you can have games that are based on good movies and are good, and you can have games that are based on good movies that are shit. But
I mean, technically, anyone could do anything.
yeah, I mean, if you put your mind to it.
So far, though, I don't feel like we've had good movies with good games attached to them.
Ghostbusters, the video game.
Okay.
Mad Max.
Man, after playing Rage 2, I'm not. I kind of come to the decision that I don't think Avalanche is a very good video game developer.
Okay, that's fine. I'm just saying, I like that game.
Anyway, all right, but hey, enough of Netflix, enough of this movie bullshit. Let's talk about video games because we had a brand new Nintendo Direct, and I hope you like hearing facts about Mario Maker because that's what we got. Mario Maker 2 Nintendo Direct. Probably the biggest news to happen this week.
Yeah, I actually was excited about this about this video. I actually was really excited with everything that they announced as part of this video.
Yep. I mean, I don't know if we want to go over it. We've got other stuff, but basically, it looks like. What are the big takeaways? Would you say?
So the big takeaways is that there is a story mode.
Right.
And the story mode is that you play through the Peach's castle's been destroyed, and you've got to get the money, the coins, to rebuild it. But to do that, you got to play a bunch of Nintendo-made levels,
right?
Which are there to kind of give you an idea of the way you can lay out levels and what you can do.
Yeah.
And then also you can do now slopes. There's a bunch of new elements that you can add to it from other Mario games. There's even some stuff that they've added that have never been in a Mario game before. Like there's like a capture claw, like from one of those things.
Well, plus, the biggest thing it seems, or one of the biggest things it seems like, is that now Super Mario 3D World is one of the
Mario 3D Land is part of it. 3D World, whatever you want to call it, with the cat suits,
right? And there's actually different stuff that you can do in that game that you can't do in the other ones, like some more 3D stuff, like the big bullets, the bonsai bills can like come towards the screen. And,
and then but you can have stuff that's never been done enough before in a Mario game, which I think is really cool. Like you can give Mario the shell of a dry
bones,
and he can then skid along lava, and also he can, if you press like down, he'll turn into a disintegrated dry bones,
and be invincible for a second.
And then also they've now made it so that you can do co-op stage building where you and a second player can cooperatively build a stage together.
Yep.
And then
nighttime is a big new thing.
Yeah, they've added nighttime.
That changes the way that things work. So like underground levels are upside down at night, and like if you catch the moon comes down, because they've got the angry sun, which that in Super Mario Bros. 2 and 3.
That was 3.
But when at night the angry sun turns into an angry moon, you can grab the angry moon and it kills all the enemies that are on the screen. Apparently you can now make like full on go down a pipe, go to a separate level that is underground. Basically just like,
and then also there's now 4-player levels where you can have 4-player. But you can also do snake blocks and all sorts. Like there's a lot. Like if you liked Mario Maker, then you were gonna fucking love this.
Yes,
because this literally is that. But more,
right?
And a little and more refined.
Everything from Super Mario Maker 1, and then a whole bunch more stuff. Because it's not like they had to go back and start over again. They just take all the assets that were in Super Mario Maker and then just spend a couple years adding more onto it.
When they did the screen where they announced the Super Mario 3D Land, people noticed that there's a absence of a logo.
Okay.
And next to it, like there's a space for another game logo to go next to it. So a lot of people are thinking there might be like a DLC pack at some point in the future that adds assets from another Mario type game.
Okay.
What game that could be, no one knows. There's a lot of people making jokes and stuff like that. But
Super Mario 2 has never been in there because it's such a different.
Because it wasn't originally a Mario game,
right? Because and then like adding assets for 2 would mean you'd have to add the whole like pickup mechanic.
Yeah, you'd have to change the mechanics for the game and the whole other thing. But yeah, so you can also do custom scroll now, where the level scrolls itself.
Yeah,
which wasn't in the first one.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff, on-off buttons, and it seems like, well, I know that Nintendo has like a full set of in-house tools for making Mario levels, right? And it just seems like this is the next iteration in giving people the tools to make their own Mario levels. And then again, they have the whole like thing where they were talking about you can like search for specific types of levels. You can create tracks based on certain types of levels. Just whatever you want to do. Like, and people, I never really got super far into it, but people were so enamored with the
I loved Mario Maker.
The problem that I had was that it felt like everybody was just making like
super hard levels.
Yeah, challenge maps, and I'm just like, well, I don't like that. I just like playing Super Mario Brothers. Like, that's what I'm more into. But yeah.
I'm excited for it. And if I'm not mistaken, I think they said that the release date for it is gonna be
let's see if they have a release date here. June 8th. Yeah. No, wait, that's the Invitational.
I want to say it's coming out like June 28th or 23rd or
something like that. Not before. Here, let me pull up the webpage. June 28th.
June 28th. And you know why that date is special, Jeff?
Why? Tell me.
Because my birthday is June 29th.
Oh, look at there. You know. Who wants to buy John 8 copies of Super Mario Maker 2 for his birthday? Also, okay, but then there was another thing at the end of here where like Nintendo's does this real silly thing where
this voucher thing.
Like instead of like pre-ordering get $10 off or something, it's like you can buy a set of vouchers.
Well, it's overly complicated because first of all, you have to be signed up for their online service.
Okay.
If you're not signed up for their online service, you can't buy this.
Okay.
But if you're signed up for Nintendo Online, you can spend $100, so that's $99.99, and you get 2 game vouchers that are good for 2 $60 games.
But then the way that they said it sounded like one of them had to be Mario Maker. Almost,
no, you don't have to choose Mario Maker. It can be, but
they're just like, buy Mario Maker 2 and then buy something else to like play until Super Mario Maker 2
it's like
comes
my
out.
issue with that is like a lot of the other games are like games I either already have, like, you know, Mario Kart or Super Smash or...
Well, is it limited to specific games?
Yes, it is limited to specific games.
Oh, okay.
But like Zelda Breath of the Wild... I can pretty sure.
John, you get $10 off 1-2 Switch.
Yeah.
You can get 1-2 Switch for $50 instead of $60. The best party game that's ever been created.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a little
so fun that everybody stopped playing it on my live stream.
But apparently the vouchers are good for up to 1 year, and apparently some upcoming games will be added into that.
It's such a convoluted system.
But you have to buy the vouchers now because apparently they're a limited time only. But when you buy them, they're good for up to a year after the date that you bought them. It's very convoluted. It's a very archaic way for providing a discount to people who are subscribed to your Nintendo Online service. It's like just
do what they normally do, and if you're subscribed to the service, you get $5 off the price of the game, or $10 off the price of the game. Like, we already have it's Nintendo overcomplicating something that the entire video game industry already has a total roadmap for how it works.
Yeah.
Right? Is sign up for your yearly service and then get X amount off of certain titles. But
it's
not good.
It's overly complicated, and if you think about it, it probably... If you buy a lot of Nintendo games, or if you don't buy a lot of Nintendo games and you want to save some, if you buy multiple vouchers, it ends up being an okay deal in the long run. But at the same time, we don't know what games are going to be part of the program in the future. So why buy this and then hope that the second game...
It's worse than pre-ordering. At least in pre-ordering, you know what you're getting. Here, it's just like, here's a ticket. Maybe you get a game at some point.
Yeah.
And
it's like if you just bought a Switch and you don't have any games and you signed up for their online service and you're like, you know what? I really want Super Mario Odyssey. I think I'm going to buy it. And I want Mario Maker 2 or any other game
Breath
that's
of the Wild or
whatever.
Yeah.
You're like, It might, because you're gonna pay $60 for them. You might as well go ahead and buy the voucher and then claim the vouchers.
Well, but see, then the other thing is that if you're doing this, you have to have, or you're probably going to need to have a memory card, right? Because these are going to be digital instead of a cartridge. So I don't know. Like it doesn't seem to me to be presenting enough of a value save proposition to go with this over just buying the stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird thing. I admit it's a misstep and overcomplicated thing on Nintendo's part.
Plus, I know that Nintendo games hold their value more than other games, but in like a year or two, if we saw a greatest hits version of Super Mario Odyssey that was $30,
well, I mean, if you look at it, one of the things that one of the websites I was reading, who was criticizing this, actually brought up the fact that let's take the oldest game that's part of this program, which is
probably Breath of the Wild.
Breath
right?
of the Wild.
It's a launch title.
Breath of the Wild came out at the same time of Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah,
I would argue that both are great games.
Yeah,
and are comparable in the grand scheme of things.
Ish, but yes, yeah, I get it.
Horizon Zero Dawn you can get for like $30 with all the DLC.
Yeah.
If you were to buy Breath of the Wild, you don't get any of using this voucher. You don't get any of the DLC.
No, sir, you don't.
And it's just like it's like, come on, every other publisher, Microsoft, Sony has
they figured it out.
They figured it out, and because you're Nintendo and you're like, no, our games don't go down in value ever,
right?
You know it.
But I mean, again, the thing is that Nintendo has never had to actually face that fact because their games don't tend to go down in value.
Yeah.
Like people will go spend $60 on games. I mean, how many goddamn times have they sold us NES games since the NES was a thing? I mean, for fuck's sake, like, I don't know. Until Nintendo stops being able to essentially get away with it, I think that's the biggest thing is that the people that are fans of Nintendo want Nintendo games, will pay full price for them, whereas there's plenty of people on both the PC, PS4, Xbox One side. You know, I've seen a lot of arguments about Rage recently saying Rage 2, I would be happy if it was like $20 or $30, but I don't think it's an experience worth a full $60. I don't think I've ever really heard that in a Nintendo.
Yeah.
I mean, like, even though I think ARMS is totally like a $30 game and not a $60 game for what it is, but that people who are fans of Nintendo, they don't roll that argument out as much as I see it anywhere else. So,
yeah.
Anyway, speaking of games that go down in value, let's talk about Ubisoft. Oh, burn.
Sick burn.
So, Ubisoft had an earnings call, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. Before we talk about that, I'm going to say, fuck you, Ubisoft. Fuck Ubisoft, because their motherfucking, one of their goddamn jack-off creative directors had this tweet last week, Julian Gerdy, and this is the tweet: working on the next hashtag Splinter Cell game with at Dan Haynow and at Rome Kamor in hashtag Leon. Can't wait for hashtag E3 crossover with hashtag Crew 2 and with at Fergus. Only missing at Ghost Recon and at Rainbow Six game, but on their way. Hashtag Far Cry, hashtag For Honor, hashtag Division 2, hashtag Rainbow Six, hashtag Ghost Recon. Essentially announcing a Splinter Cell game. Now, this may be a thing. This may be a thing that was leaked, but then did you hear all about this?
I did.
A few hours later, Julian Garrity changed his thing and he said, okay, please don't retweet. I may be in trouble. He had apparently, after he made that tweet, had changed his profile picture and his like a banner or whatever to like Splinter Cell stuff.
It was Splinter Cell 2.
And
he, by the way, that okay, don't retweet. I may be in trouble or whatever. That he was being cheeky.
Yeah,
he wasn't like that. Wasn't like, oh, I'm seriously in trouble. It was like, oh, don't retweet what I just said. I may be in trouble.
But see, Ubisoft said that it's a hoax.
Yeah, Ubisoft came out and was like, yeah, he's a practical joker. He likes to say things to get people's attention online.
Yeah, quote, Julian was obviously joking, as Julian likes to do. It looks like our creative directors are having fun right now. We do not have any announcements to make at this time. Now, here's the $100 million question. Here's the $4 question. Sorry, it's not really, the question isn't worth that much. It's just, is there a Splinter Cell game being made and that Ubisoft just doesn't want him to know about it? Or is this guy the biggest asshole in my life?
Could it be both?
that there is a Splinter Cell game being made, but this guy's thing was also a hoax.
Could it be both that he's an asshole?
He's an asshole, and there's a new Splinter Cell game being made. I suppose there is one of the 14 million outcomes of this timeline where he is both an asshole and there is a new Splinter Cell game being made, because during their earnings call, Ubisoft said that they have 3 unannounced titles that are going to be coming out between January and March of 2020,
which are probably all going to be announced at
E3. So
one would think.
One would hope. The thing is that they also in their earnings call talked about how they have had like one of the greatest, like 2018 was one of Ubisoft's best years of all time. In fact, I think it was the best year they've ever had financially. They brought in $2.27 billion, 17% up from 2017. Most of that apparently was due to the fact that Rainbow Six Siege brought in about $1 billion on its own.
Which is crazy, considering it's Rainbow Six Siege and when it came out.
Far Cry 5 is also the biggest selling game for Ubisoft's current generational titles, so I would assume that includes Splinter Cell and Ghost Recon and all that stuff. Far Cry 5 apparently knocked it out of the park. Division 2 apparently did not do as well as they expected to do on consoles, like did as well as they expected on the PC, but not on consoles. So that was what came out from their earnings call, and given what we know about that, I'd say one of those games is probably a sequel to Siege, right? Because Siege came out in 2015. Like, having a new one of those to bring people in now that they've figured it out.
Is it possible that one of those could be a new Just Dance game?
Yes, I forgot about Just Dance. God damn it. Fuck you, Just Dance. I keep forgetting that you're made by Ubisoft.
And
Shit.
Could it be possible that another one is a For Honor sequel?
It is also possible that one of them could be a For Honor sequel, and then the third one could be a Rainbow Six sequel. Well, I guess. So Ghost Recon's been announced.
Yeah,
so
we got Ghost Recon.
It's not Ghost Recon. It's too early for the Division. It could be Watch Dogs, right? Could be Watch Dogs 3.
It could be a Watch Dogs game, yeah.
But you know what? All those rumors right now about the Vikings Assassin's Creed. One of those is probably Assassin's Creed Vikings.
It might not be, because there's the rumors with that of saying that they weren't going to even announce anything until next year.
All I know is that I'm torn because I want a new Splinter Cell game.
Everyone wants a new Splinter Cell. I don't even like Splinter Cell, and I want a new Splinter Cell game.
Want me to shut up, just to shut Jeff up about Splinter Cell?
No, I'm not even a huge Splinter Cell fan, and I'm like, you know what? I feel like it's time for a new Splinter Cell game.
Yeah.
Stop fucking,
Stop being coy about it.
Yeah.
And just say it or don't say it. Well, I don't know, maybe.
I better see one of two things happen at this year's E3.
Yeah.
One, they announce a new Splinter Cell game.
Okay.
Two, the press conference starts off with a video where Sam Fisher is sneaking into a building and then gets shot in the head, and then the director comes out and says there will never be another one.
I thought you were going to say, is it like the totally dark stage, and then there's like the noise of the thing, and then you just see the 3 lights like skulking along the stage, and then all the lights come on. It's just somebody dressed up all in white, like Just Dance, and they pull the thing off, and they start doing the dance, and then the doors open, and everybody comes in. And
I was going to say it'd be just literally they kill Sam Fisher just to say, hey, never gonna happen. Fuck you.
See
because then you guys would have something to legit like be super angry about. But also would know that there's never gonna be a Splinter Cell.
The problem that I'm having, John, is that Ubisoft hasn't made a open world game, and I don't want Splinter Cell to be an open world game. Like, stealth games work better when they are crafted arena experiences. And I don't want a janky open world Splinter Cell game.
You don't want a Ghost Recon or Division style game.
Yeah, there already is a Ghost Recon.
And Ghost Recon Wildlands did have that Splinter Cell mission.
It did. And Ghost Recon Breakpoint has the thing where you can waddle around in the mud and get all stealthy, put mud on top of you like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't want it if it's going to be a big open world where you open up the map and there's just a million icons and it's like, oh, this sector is run by Valentina Flores, and she's the computer director for the cartel. You got to go. It's like, no, don't do that. Don't make everything the same game, Ubisoft. Quit making every game the same game. So I'm torn, is what I'm saying. Is that in some cases I would like for Ubisoft to make a new Splinter Cell game, and I would also kind of like them to just get the fuck away from that franchise if they're just going to do that.
Yeah. Also, I revised my thing about Sam Fisher getting killed.
Okay.
I still want him to get killed, but I would like each time they're about to announce a game, it's a Sam Fisher. Like Sam Fisher comes out, and then he gets killed by the main protagonist of whatever game
Of one of the other game is?
Of one of the other game. Like even like Dance Central, like someone comes out and starts dancing over his like kicks him in the face and or Just Dance. Whatever.
Dance Central's harmonics.
Yeah, you're right. But Just Dance, like someone kicks him in the face and then like dances on his dead corpse or whatever.
Yeah.
And then like, rabbits come up and eat him and something.
You know what I want?
It just literally, it starts every video with Sam Fisher just getting murdered by the game.
I got one better. I want Michael Ironside to host the E3 Ubisoft conference, and there not to be a Splinter Cell game.
I would be okay with that one
All
as
right,
well.
and then here's 20 minutes of Beyond Good and Evil 2. Good night, everybody. And everybody's just like, what? Ah! You assholes. David Hayter comes out, and they both walk off stage. It's just like, God damn you fucks. In any case, so I feel like when we see this earning call, what we've seen is that Ubisoft is, for better or worse, because it is their money and their games and their projects, in my mind, they are learning all the wrong lessons. Or at least, I was having a big conversation with somebody in the Slack channel or in the Discord channel about this. Like, Ubisoft doesn't seem interested in making the Ubisoft games that I liked.
Yeah.
Like, they seem to like making these big open world games that are kind of shallow, or games with this online service model of doing stuff. And like the last Ubisoft game that I really, really honestly loved was Watch Dogs 2. And I really loved Watch Dogs 2. Like I would really like, more of that. But it's like they're just like Rainbow Six, The Division, Ghost Recon. Here's another Ghost Recon. And so it's just like, it's like a company that used to make some of my favorite games who now just seems dead set on making games that I'm just not as interested in. And so, blah.
Yeah.
Also, Skull and Bones isn't coming out this year. It's been pushed back to March 2020.
Yeah.
So, when they did the math on this, it turns out that Skull and Bones, the game, will be coming out after Skull and Bones, the series that they're making about the game. They're making like an episodic thing for something, and that's going to be coming out before the game since the game has gotten pushed back again. How hard is it to make the multiplayer pirate game?
I don't know.
Doesn't seem like it should be that hard.
I don't know.
And that's in like 2017 or something like that.
Yeah. I got a quick question for you.
Yes.
And this is something that just popped in my head. It's a little bit of a tangent, and I apologize.
That's all right.
It still is on topic.
Okay.
Let's say they do announce a Watch Dogs 3.
Okay.
What city should it take place in? Because the first one was Chicago?
Yes.
And then the second one was
San Francisco.
So it would have to be some place that's like technological hub of a place.
Austin, Texas.
I was thinking, wouldn't it be kind of cool if they had it in Dubai?
Maybe. Maybe. I think one of the things with Watch Dogs 2 that made it work so well was that there was like it's kind of a futurism thing mixed with like things that we already know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Like I love it in Watch Dogs 2 when somebody walks up to you and asks you to take a selfie with them or whatever. Yeah. I just don't know if that would work out the same way in Dubai. I don't really know that much about Dubai. Yeah, could be interesting. Maybe just like Hong Kong or, or China might be really interesting because I know there's like this one city in China that has like just tons of tech stuff going on in it all the time. But I personally vote for Austin, Texas. I don't think there's ever been a game set in Austin, Texas. I think there should totally be a game set in Austin, Texas. I think there's been levels in games that might have been set in Austin, Texas. But I want a big open world game set in Austin, goddamn Texas.
But open world is like, there's not, thinking about Austin and the way it's set up, that doesn't work for a video game, man.
Compress certain things, expand certain other things, make downtown a little bigger than it actually is. Got the big pink Capitol building. I don't know. That's just me. I was going to say Seattle originally, but we've already seen Seattle in
quite a few games.
What was it? Second Son?
Second Son, yeah, the infamous.
Infamous Second Son. What else? Was there been another one?
I feel like there was
There
probably
was another one where it's like Space Needle. What's the what's that Xbox game with the energy drink that you really liked? Maximum Overdrive
Sunset Overdrive.
Sunset Overdrive. Where did that take place?
Fictional town.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm thinking of Second Son. Anyway, speaking of games you'll be playing online forever, Red Dead Redemption 2 is getting a big new update. In fact, it has already gotten a big new update, adding a bunch of new things, which hopefully will make the game less not fun than it was last time I played it. Because last time I played it, there was nothing to do.
I've honestly uninstalled it from my console because I needed the space.
Yeah. So apparently one of the things that's happening is there's now a 5-mission story thing based on the setup. Because in the setup, it's like there's this woman who gets you out of jail and gives you a gun. She's like, we're going to take this land back from the assholes or whatever. Apparently there's like a whole story mission based on that. You can play poker now, apparently with other people online. There are some new types of like hunting missions. There's some Radiant events that are happening out in the world. And they now have a thing where when you log on, you can decide whether you want to be offensive or defensive. And offensive is the way that it is currently, where everybody can just shoot at everybody. Defensive is like an indicator that you don't want to fuck. We don't want to fuck with PvP. So it disables like people can't lasso you, people can't punch you, people can't auto lock onto you. They can shoot you, but the amount of damage that it does is drastically reduced. And then if they do manage to kill you, you can report them, and there's like a bounty system in the game where then if somebody else kills them, they get money for doing that. But what's actually I found really interesting is apparently like if you keep killing defensive players in an area, apparently Red Dead will spawn you further and further and further away from that zone until it just starts spawning you on the other side of the map, so that if you want to like grief somebody, you have to just like spend 25 minutes riding your horse down to where they are, and then you just get thrown back to the other side of the map. In any case, it looks like everybody that I've talked to that's played Red Dead Online, it sounds like has been kind of meh with it because there just isn't a lot to do. But this is at least a good step in the right direction. Also, they're dropping the beta from it, so it's now just going to be Red Dead 2 Online.
Okay.
That's happening. In other Rockstar news, Rockstar is purchasing Druva Interactive from Starbreeze. Now, that name might not mean anything, but apparently Druva Interactive is like the biggest game house in India, and they don't as much make their own games as like work on other people's games. So, for example, they worked on Dead by Daylight, Halo 5, Forza 7, Prey Mooncrash, Days Gone, and a bunch more. Apparently they do like the outsource art assets and things like that. Like they're not a game developer, but they're like an asset studio. And Starbreeze bought them in 2016 for $8.5 million. Rockstar just bought them for $7.9 million off of Starbreeze.
Wow.
Yeah. Which goes to a further set of stories that we'll be talking about this week, which is that things have been not great for Starbreeze for a while, but like they're starting to get really, really dire for them. Apparently, according to the CEO, they've got about 12 months worth of capital left.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah. Starbreeze is, I mean, what? They had the rights to System Shock 3, which they sold back off to the original owners or something like that. And, it's apparently what they've got right now is the what's the Payday, right?
Payday,
That's basically what they're running off of is Payday and Payday profits. So the current CEO is saying right now that he doesn't think this is just like the giant death knell for the company, but that they're probably going to have to do heavy restructuring to even stay open, which is kind of a shame, even though I'm trying to think of what was the last Starbreeze game that I was just like super, super into.
Outside of Payday, I don't even know what other Starbreeze games they make.
I thought they were the publisher on Riddick on Butcher Bay. And then they are set to publish Psychonauts 2.
Oh, okay.
But whether that will still happen, depending on when Psychonauts 2 comes out, I feel like that could be like a make or break thing for them if they get a chunk of that by the time it comes out. So, but yeah, that's what's going on with Starbreeze. So everybody cross your fingers, or I don't know, maybe don't. As again, I don't really know. Oh, they had the Overkill's The Walking Dead or whatever them as well, which kind of So, In less news, apparently Steam Link is now on your iPhone.
Yeah.
So you can hook up your iPhone to Steam Link and kind of play a somewhat laggy version of your games over your home Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Yeah.
You had a Steam Link?
I have it. It's not hooked up anymore, but
okay. You said it was like okay for. It was okay.
It was okay because my computer and the Steam Link were not over Wi-Fi. They were wired, and it worked fine for what it was. I less used it for playing games on my TV in my living room through my computer, and more for streaming video from my computer to my TV.
Sure.
So there was that.
Okay. Well, apparently though, if you have a phone, it's pretty easy to set up. It's free. The main thing also just seems to be when I look at this screenshot of this is just a like a platform that they have on this news story. It's like the virtual buttons and the virtual controller are taking up a lot of real estate on just a regular size phone. Apparently, it does have support for if you have a Bluetooth controller that you want to hook up to your phone. You can do that as well. I don't know. It's like I feel like Steam keeps pursuing this, and I just don't know that it's worth pursuing. Like I don't know. I guess I feel that what is the market for people that have Steam games on a computer and then want to be playing those on a phone?
So I feel like this is a stopgap kind of thing.
Yeah.
They're trying to get this fixed first, and then when you can do this successfully, they would then, instead of it being over a network, maybe over the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Much like a Slingbox kind of thing, except instead of movies, streaming movies from or TV from one home to another location, you're doing it with playing your games.
I would think actually, now that I think about it, if you could get it working over Wi-Fi, that would be a good first step towards wireless VR solution, right? Since VR is basically just a phone,
yeah,
right? So,
I mean, there's probably also that as well.
Yeah. In any case, I'd be interested if anybody out there has tried this, how well it works, because I have yet to see one of these streaming solutions that works very well.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe one of the people that will solve that will be Sony or Microsoft, because apparently they're teaming up to do some shit.
They're getting all buddy.
Yep. Apparently nothing to do with the actual
consoles,
like PlayStation or Xbox.
Kind of, but no.
This is more like two technology firms teaming up to try to solve like tech issues.
So the press release that they released is kind of vague, and not really clear on what exactly they're doing. But the basis is that they're working together to develop technology that is going to be going into Microsoft's, what the hell is their service called? It's like a V word. Microsoft Azure, maybe that's it. Not a V word. It's an A word. I'm stupid.
You don't want to get the V's and the A's confused. That just nobody likes it when that happens. Nobody likes it.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it's Microsoft Azure. They want to help you. Essentially, it kind of seems like Microsoft is using Sony because Sony is very creative with the way they do their technology and their stuff.
Yeah,
but Microsoft has like the bandwidth and the servers and the technology side of it.
Right.
So they're kind of working together to benefit both of them.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the stuff that was talked about can be theorized to be game streaming, like streaming not only save files, like keeping save files in a cloud, but like cloud computing, like using cloud computers to help make games more whatever.
Yeah, for Crackdown 4, obviously.
Yeah, the stuff that Microsoft has touted for that was supposed to be for Crackdown 3. But for also streaming video games through from a server.
Yeah.
They're
both trying to do that. I mean, we know that Sony's doing it with PS Now, and Microsoft
I feel like Sony has the code, but Microsoft has
the hardware,
the bandwidth, and the hardware to do it properly. So they're both. A lot of people are suspecting that this is them going, fuck, Google Stadia is kind of come up here and try to fuck up our shit. We need to get our shit together so that we have a united front of like, we're doing the same thing. Why go to them when you can still get all of the stuff that you love, the exclusive stuff that you love from us in the same type of service?
Yeah.
Sony has said that some of it will be used. Some of this technology could potentially be used in
PlayStation
future consoles.
Yeah.
Same with Microsoft.
Yeah.
But no consoles were actually named. It kind of also seems like this may be something that they're going to be implementing in other things, like in Microsoft computers, Sony TVs,
Sure.
Sony DVR boxes, whatever the fuck you want to call them. But
I mean, both companies both love money.
Yeah.
And like, if they can work together to make more money than they could get separately, why not? Or maybe they just both have a huge hard-on for Nintendo where they keep looking at those Switch sales numbers and they're just like, you motherfuckers. All right.
Yeah.
Sony, I'm tired of this motherfucker. Look, we're going to team up and take down Nintendo.
Well, Microsoft is already teaming up with Nintendo. Microsoft's
that's
teaming up
true.
with everybody.
Yeah.
Except for Google.
Yeah.
They're like, fuck you, Google. Trying to come up into our game space.
Hotmail for life. Hotmail and Bing were superior products, Google. How dare you? I still have a Hotmail account somewhere. I don't even know where the fuck it is. I don't even know what the password is for it anymore. It's filled up with spam. All right, let's talk about some trailers. We got a real big cinematic trailer for World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Strange that these just like come up every so often.
I mean, usually they come out right around the time of an expansion.
Right. Which the classic.
This one seems to be preceding the release of the Warcraft Classic, which is coming out in August.
Kind of August, though. I mean, that's a little ways away. Because also, I feel like we were both, or I was confused about where exactly. Like, is this something happening in the current timeline of World of Warcraft, or is it something that happened that we never saw in a cutscene? Because it seems to be referring to. I don't know. Like I don't play World of Warcraft. I just watch the cutscenes.
Yeah. I'm so far removed from World of Warcraft. I have forgotten more about the lore of World of Warcraft than I ever wanted to know.
Yeah.
And the only reason I knew most of that is because A, I did play the game, and B, I worked for Blizzard for a while, but I just I've forgotten so much that I'm like, I don't know.
But you know what? I'll say
Looked good though.
It's a testament to Blizzard that even though I don't really have any idea what's going on in the Warcraft franchise, this was still an entertaining as fuck 4 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Like just a bunch of orcs killing a bunch of
Every
stuff
one
happening.
of these, it's like, I don't know nothing about. I can know nothing about what's going on in World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
And every one of these cinematic trailers is always a masterpiece and always has my attention.
Yep. Blizzard, make a show. Make a show. I don't even care what franchise it's from. Make a Lost Vikings show. I trust you'll probably do it. Your Lost Vikings show will probably be better than 90% of the garbage that's out there. Speaking of 90% of the garbage that's out there in animated shows, we also didn't talk about Rick and Morty's comeback on November.
Yeah.
Not that now that everybody hates
Another
Rick and
show
Morty.
that I don't watch.
Yeah?
Or I've never watched.
It's going to be a big fall for me because My Hero Academia is back in like October and it's Rick and Morty in November. So anyway, if you haven't watched this, go watch this Safe Haven cinematic from World of Warcraft. Even if you don't play it, it's worth watching. I think this I haven't ever seen it, but I'd be willing to bet this 4 minutes is probably more enjoyable than that whole fucking movie that they put out.
Live-action movie, yeah.
So we also got a trailer. This is the most confusing thing of all time for Oddworld Soulstorm. And I was like... It was like the second game in a quintilogy of Oddworld. It's like a new Oddworld game, and it was like, well, wait, what? Because the gameplay all looks like it's an Oddworld game, like because they remade the first one, right? And it looked like, well, but this isn't what the second one was, is it? And it turns out that it's like they remade the second one with the roadmap. The original guy, Lorne Lanning, has a whole 5-game arc that he wants to make, and so this is like the second one, but like not Oddworld Abe's Exodus. It's like a whole other thing. So yeah, but it looks good. I mean, I love Oddworld, so I never played the Stranger one because I was like, I don't want to play this as a shooter. I liked it better when it was an adventure game. You have not played.
I don't really play the Oddworld games.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah.
They're good, John.
I mean, I'm sure they are.
Yeah.
It's just those were games that kind of were they originally on the PlayStation?
Yeah, PSX.
Yeah, that's I never owned a PlayStation.
I
didn't own a PlayStation 2 until PlayStation 2, and even then it was pretty. It was around the time of Final Fantasy X.
I was like late, super late. Yeah,
that's about around the time that I got a PlayStation 2 was around Final Fantasy X coming out.
Being an Xbox guy, N64 to Xbox?
It was mostly Nintendo, N64, and I didn't actually get an Xbox until 360.
So then N64 and then GameCube?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Anyway, I think this looks really good.
And Dreamcast.
And Dreamcast. Yeah, this looks really good. There's a few things in here that only people who have played Abe's Oddworld could identify as properly scary. Like there's a point where one of the not the Gluckins, but forget what the name of the attack guys is shooting diagonally, which they could only shoot left or right, which was part of one of the kind of puzzle solving things. But I don't know. I like Oddworld, so I'm looking forward to this whenever it comes out. We got a very, very short teaser. Apparently, John Wick is going to be in Fortnite, as everybody, data miners and everybody else thought there's going to be a John Wick mode to coincide with John Wick 3. I like the trailer is basically just him shooting the guy that everybody kind of thought was their like John Wick takeoff model that's already in the game, and then like an actual John Wick model is in the game. Apparently, it plays an awful lot like regular battle royale, but and then last but not least, we had a Samurai Showdown. There's been a bunch of Samurai Showdown trailers, but we had a big 4-minute long one that was talking about a lot of the new, like the story mode. It's going to be a prequel, talking about the kind of game mechanics of building up this like rage meter that you can then expend for these like kind of super flashy finishing moves. But if you like hold on to the rage meter, apparently it just like ups your normal attack. So you can like, you have a choice between keeping that or using it to try to, finish off your opponent. The thing that I was talking with you about that seems really interesting is that apparently the game will watch you play and then create like a custom ghost based on the way you play Samurai Showdown that you can either play like against in order to kind of try to find your own weaknesses, or you can send it online to fight with other people. And then apparently you can also download other people's ghosts.
Yeah.
So it would be like fighting the best people in the world at Samurai Showdown, except you can totally do it at home and you don't have to do it online. I mean, you just like fight that person over and over again. You don't have to have like an opportunity to fight somebody or wait for it or whatever.
Yeah.
Which I think is kind of a good idea.
Yeah.
Considering
if the technology is good enough to actually accurately predict their how they would play that game, I think that's great.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting thing. So I don't know. SNK's kind of been knocking it out of the park between King of Fighters and this and all the rest of the stuff. All right, let's go over a couple quick things here. Samurai Showdown is coming out on June 25th, so we don't have to wait all that long. We got
also right before my birthday.
Yeah. We got some new games that are going to be on that Genesis Mini.
I am actually, the more they announce about the Genesis Mini, I'm kind of like, God damn it, I'm going to have to buy that too, aren't I?
You want it. Landstalker, Mega Man The Wily Wars, Street Fighter 2, Special Championship Edition, Ghouls and Ghosts, Alex Kidd, Beyond Oasis, Golden Axe, Phantasy Star 4, Sonic the Hedgehog, Spinball, Vector Man, and Wonder Boy and Monster World.
So, can I bring up an interesting factoid about one of those games?
Sure.
Specifically, Mega Man The Wily Wars. Do you know what that is?
I have no idea what that is.
It is a very rare game because it was only released on the Sega Channel.
Oh,
it was originally
that internet bullshit.
Yeah, it was originally a remake of 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
For the Genesis that was done specifically for the Sega Channel.
Okay. Did it have like enhanced Oh yeah, it did have enhanced graphics, didn't it? Yeah. Interesting.
And so it's very like the fact that it's in there, I think that is amazing.
Yeah. That's kind of like the Star Fox 2 of
and
this.
For anyone who doesn't know what the Sega Channel is, Sega Channel was a thing that Sega did with Time Warner, in which you could download Sega games and play them on your console, on your Sega, using your Time Warner connection, your TV connection. It was a little cartridge that you would plug into the top of the Sega Genesis, and then it had a coaxial cable for your cable from your cable box that would go into the back of the cartridge, and then like you would get like a screen and have a list of games, and those lists of games would change each month. Sometimes they would have demos of games that hadn't come out yet. And sometimes they would have very specially made games that were only made for the Sega channel that were never going to be released any other way. I actually did have that, which I was lucky. You know, I one of the few things that I can say that I had that I was. Sega was ahead of their time with that,
Right.
and that's the crazy thing about it is that when this came out, that was unheard of.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, hell, it's the only way I ever played any of the Phantasy Star Online games, or not Phantasy Star Online, but Phantasy Star games, because they used to put them up there all the time.
Yeah.
And I played so many games.
Oh, but then what? There was also like Nintendo had that thing where like, what was it? Where it was like they would broadcast games that you could play, but only for a certain amount of time. Like there was a Zelda game where it's like you could only, it's like a remix of A Link to the Past, but the way they did it was they had some kind of internet thing where it was in Japan only.
Yeah, no, what you're talking about. Yeah,
you could, between 7 and 8 p.m. you can play this Zelda game.
Yeah, but that was
only
in Japan.
between 7
but
and 8
that was
p.m.
only in Japan.
Oh yeah,
but yeah. I was never here in the States, but Sega Channel was here in the States. Time Warner, it was fucking the shit, man.
Yeah.
I fucking loved that thing.
So you think
and
$100 or $80?
You get 2 controllers with it.
Yep.
They also said that the controllers that you get with it are the 3-button Sega controllers. They did state that they are going to be releasing separately the 6-button Sega controllers,
Right.
Which I think they're like $19.99 per controller. Which there are like 3 games that
There's
actually
a fighting game. I remember that.
there's the Street Fighter 2 uses it. So does Comic Zone, and like I want to say one other game. I can't remember what it is.
No, when I was a kid, my friend had one of those, and there was a fighting game that was like a Heroes Throughout Time type
World
of weird,
Heroes.
Maybe I don't remember. But in any case,
use those 6-button Sega Genesis controllers, and they're going to be selling those separately as well for like $19.99.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of on board with this. I've already got the SNES Classic. I got the Neo Geo Classic. I want the fucking Genesis Classic. The only one I'm not caring about is the PS1 Classic.
oh yeah,
Which I'm just waiting for that thing to get so low in price that it's like, okay, I'll give you $20 for this.
I think it's already there.
Well, I've heard it's pretty low. Like the last place I went to that I saw one, it was like maybe 40.
Let me see what Amazon has for it. I still need to jailbreak mine. There was one point where like I think it's like Best Buy was like giving them away or something. If you spent $50, you could like get one.
Yeah, I think it's like if you bought like a TV or something like that, you could get one or something.
I'm not finding it there. PS
PlayStation Classic.
Oh, there we go. $40 on Amazon.
Yeah, it's $40 on Amazon. If it goes $10 cheaper, maybe.
Yeah, it's kind of a piece of shit. But I like the fact that the controllers have the end of the controllers, the USB port on them looks like the thing that you like the plug from a PlayStation controller.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway. So we got that. So Dreams is a weird thing.
Dreams is I've been hearing people have been remaking stuff.
Yeah, there's a guy who is trying to remake Metal Gear Solid in Dreams, and he put up a video of it. It's not great, but it's better than I feel like it
should be.
It should be, yeah. It's a sort of thing where he just has like the very beginning part of the game, and it looks a little better than I would have thought it would be, but I don't know. It's also still very like blocky and stuff. Like he's obviously using like it's an homage to the original PlayStation or the original Metal Gear. I'm like, that's cool. But yeah, I've seen some wackadoo shit happening in Dreams recently. Apparently this guy had like a Gen 1 of this that he had for a while. And there's a video online of him kind of going over the whole level and showing how he made it and all that stuff. So that's interesting. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see if you could just remake. I mean, because there was a story a few months back of somebody that made Super Mario Maker in Little Big Planet, and I was like, okay. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens. John, I have some Lego news for you.
Oh, you do?
I know that it's not your favorite thing, but there was a thing last week of a Stranger Things Lego set.
I'm aware of this.
That is pretty cool.
I got the email from my Lego VIP membership.
Okay.
That it's actually for sale for VIP members already, and I think it goes on sale on June 1st for everybody else.
Okay.
I actually think it's a cool looking set.
Yeah, because it's literally upside down. Like the upside down, it's like the house from Stranger Things on the top, and then underneath is the same house, but it's in the
upside down version.
Upside down where it's all crazy and stuff. And then I guess, because Lego characters are all stuck to where they are, it's like you can totally just turn it up.
Yeah, and they have it set so that there are trees that are holding it up.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. So you can actually have it to where the upside down is up, and like the regular world is upside down, and like there's a truck and it's hanging upside down. But because it's in the pegs, it's just hanging.
Yeah,
it looks really cool. It's like $200.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
fucking Legos, man.
I mean, it's a big set.
Yeah,
like I to me, it's like looking here. It's like looking at it. It's like if you're a really big Stranger Things fan, that's a cool set to have.
Right. But not something for just your casual.
Yeah, I mean,
Lego
again,
enthusiast.
it's a $200 set. It's
a lot bigger than I thought it was. Yeah,
because you got to remember, it's got to be big enough. It's got to be to scale with the minifigures.
Right. Yeah. No, that's true. That's true. It's got the whole like little police cruiser and everything as well. Yeah, I mean, definitely if you're a Stranger Things fan, it seems like the sort of thing that would be cool to have. It's very clever too. I'm pretty sure this is one of those things that came out of their like somebody designs it. No, they did it original.
This was apparently all them.
Okay, interesting. But yeah, go check it out. And last but not least, John, it might be only a matter of time before we find a Mortal Kombat movie, because apparently they're filming one in Australia.
Oh shit!
Mortal Kombat. Bam, 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 bam. What Mortal Kombat story do you want to see in the movie? Remake of the original TV series first season.
Good God, no.
The Mortal Kombat Shaolin monks.
I mean, that's just the thing.
Deception.
It's like I almost wouldn't mind them seeing them. Like, I hate to say this, but I almost wouldn't mind seeing them just do. They can do like the first tournament if they want.
Yeah,
but go crazy with it. Don't try to remake the first movie. Like, just do.
Well, the first movie was the first tournament, but they kind of went crazy with it.
But go crazy with it in a different way.
Yeah.
Is what I mean. Like, if you want to do if you want to do it in order, do start with 2, but do it like not shitty.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
If this ended up being a good movie, would it be the first actually, not like ironically or so bad it's good, but the actually first good fighting game movie adaptation?
I mean, I think the first Mortal Kombat movie is actually a good fighting game adaptation.
Yeah.
I mean, I would also argue that Dead or Alive is also a really good adaptation. It's just they know what they are,
right?
And it's all kind of very tongue-in-cheek, which is kind of where the games were as well.
Sure.
Like, accuracy-wise, that movie is way more accurate than I ever expected it to be.
Okay.
But, I mean, I don't know. Like, I just want it to be good. Like,
yeah.
I don't need it to be. I want it to be at least faithful to the characters, but it doesn't have to be faithful to the story.
Okay.
Like there was the web series thing that they did, whatever the fuck it was called. Like, that's now released as you can get the first 2 Mortal Kombat movies and the web series all on one Blu-ray now, as a pack. It also like vastly changed everything.
Oh yeah.
It rewrote everything, and I thought I was like, you know what, that's not bad. It's at least, I mean, I wouldn't want this as an actual movie, but because Johnny Cage was a fucking Power Ranger star, which, don't get me wrong, I love Power Rangers, but like literally Johnny Cage to me should be like a Hollywood blockbuster action movie star,
right? Not
I'm a Power Ranger actor and I can't get any other work because everyone looks at me as the guy who was in Power Rangers.
You know, one of the more contentious things I ever wrote when I was writing blogs back on Spill was I didn't like that web series very much, and I think a lot of it was because at the time, like, we were just seeing so many superhero things that because of the Nolan movies, everybody wanted to do
gritty
serious,
realism,
realistic superheroes. Yeah. And I'm like, you guys, like Mortal Kombat is so ridiculous. This is not the place for gritty, serious realism.
Yeah, it's okay to have blood and gore because that's what Mortal Kombat has, but it's
Right.
got to be ridiculous.
Right.
It's got to be a little tongue-in-cheek.
It's got to be about the wizard from the other dimension that's summoning Earth's mightiest heroes, and one of them happens to be Jean-Claude Van Damme, and one of them happens to be Bruce Lee to a tournament.
Yeah. But my thing is, like, you got to be true to the characters.
Right.
And I feel like that web series kind of wasn't true to the characters. Kinda like certain characters it got right, certain characters it just kind of like why. But it did try to do adhere to gritty realism too much.
I don't think it was bad. It was just like when I saw it, I think that the thing that happened in my mind was I was like, oh God, please don't let this be where Mortal Kombat goes, because as I said, everything was doing gritty and realistic because of the fucking Nolan movies, and I'm just like, I don't want gritty and realistic, which. Fortunately, the Marvel movies have
also the
countered,
second season of that web series was weird because part of the storyline was that because Liu Kang won the first tournament, he was immortal until the next tournament, and he basically went off to kind of live a life and fell in love with a woman, and then him and the woman got gunned down, and he didn't die, and she did, and Raiden wouldn't do anything to help bring her back.
Okay,
and so he then turned evil and joined Shang Tsung's side and fought for Shao Kahn's side, fought against Earthrealm in the new tournament.
Too ridiculous. It's too ridiculous. It's too ridiculous.
Like that's too much of a change for the character.
Anyway, write in the comment section. Let us know.
Whoever thought of Liu Kang fighting against Earthrealm? That's just never happened.
God, stupid.
Before anyone comes in and goes, John, you realize that actually did happen in the games.
Yep. Sarcasm. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk sarcastically about your questions. So get ready for that. We'll see you in a minute. John, it's time for questions.
Yes.
300 questions I have. We got to get through 300 questions for the 300th podcast. So that would have been a good angle.
I'm going to answer 150 of them right now.
Okay.
No.
All right. Well, there you go. Now we only got 150 left. I'll do the next 100 and say yes. And it's all right. Now we only got 50 questions to answer. MailRaceline.com is the email address. Sending your questions. They don't have to be video games. They can be whatever you want. In fact, the first question comes in from somebody who didn't sign their thing. And they just wrote a question with no preamble. So I'm going to make up an email for them. Dear sexiest people on the internet, your YouTube channel is the best. And I don't know why you aren't both millionaires. My question this week is what are your thoughts on the pro Jared cheating on his wife and possibly sending nudes to underage viewers? Thanks for all the laughs. How are you all so good? I would like to be this good. Maybe you should write a self-help book about how to be as awesome as you are. Your loyal fan, Smaug the dragon. So Smaug, I figure this is gonna be a really short question. Like I don't really know pro Jared. I do watch pro Jared.
I've met him.
Seems like he kind of did that thing that we see a lot on the internet where people get all famous and then shitty shit. They start doing shitty shit. And
so I am familiar with Pro Jared because I was a huge fan of Screw Attack way back in the day.
Oh, you've got feelings and thoughts.
Yeah. So I think he came in to take over their Hard News video series at one point. I've actually met him going to one of the Screw Attack gaming conventions. Seemed like a nice guy, but also kind of whatever.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't anybody that I'm like, I would like to hang out with that guy more, or like, oh wow, he's a really cool dude. It was just like, hey, he's okay.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm not a huge fan of his, but I've watched some of his videos, and yeah,
kind of the whole thing started with a real dick move. You block your wife and then announce on Twitter that you're getting a divorce. Like,
yeah, that was a dick move. You know, he cheated on his wife.
Yep.
He's also apparently sent dick pics and requested nudes from people, which for some of it was like like kind of a well-known joke.
Well, apparently it was like he had like a link or something on one of his websites.
He had a Reddit thread where it was like, send me your nudes or whatever and I'll send you mine kind of thing. And this was while he was married and his wife knew about it.
Right.
Like, and it was very much like
it was supposed to be like a joke.
Yeah, and it was very much a joke, like, oh, look, this person actually did send me nudes. Hey, honey, take a look at this. And she's like, oh, ha, that's funny.
Right.
But apparently he got like really into it and started doing like Snapchat, or not Snapchats, but whatever, doing like DMs and stickums or whatever the fucking Snapchats or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what this fucking shit is.
However you send your dick on the internet. He was using the internet dick services.
But he would do stuff, and it was apparently got like really skeevy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's come out that some of the people that he did this with, at the time, like now they are of appropriate age, but at the time that he sent them a dick pic or requested nudes from them, they were maybe 16. Some of them were guys. Some of them were girls.
Yep.
It's a thing, and ew.
Yep.
That guy that has now tanked his career, even to the point of that his forum and Reddit forum moderators turned on him. Like, it's
they switched his thing to like was a JonTron Reddit now? They like changed his subreddit to be
I don't know,
like another YouTuber. Like they switched that around.
Yeah. I know that Game Grumps removed all videos that had him like past videos that had him in there, because apparently the person that he cheated on his wife with was the ex-wife or ex-girlfriend of someone who works on Game Grumps. Not any of the main two personalities, but one of the editors.
Yeah.
And also I think the guy that did their Steam Train stuff. But
I mean, it seems to me like we've seen this happen before.
Yeah, it's
somebody on the internet gets too much power and they start to get too big for their britches.
And not even too much power; they just get a little bit.
Right, and then they just kind of go crazy because they don't know what to do with it, and then suddenly they're doing all kind of horrible shit. I 100% am not saying that like, oh well, poor this guy. No, he's an asshole.
No, he fucked himself.
He's a fucking asshole.
He's deserving everything he's getting right now. Every whatever, he lost, like, apparently his subs went from like over I think he had like 1 million subs or close to 1 million or something like that, and like dropped to under 10,000 in like the span of like 24 hours.
Yep.
Or something like that. Like it was a large number, and now has like a very small number.
Right.
Probably more, I can almost guarantee you more subs than my YouTube channels have ever had. But
well, if he's under 10,000, he's less than Rage Select. So
yeah. But and it's kind of one of those things where it's like we see this story pop up once every 3-6 months, and it's one of those things that makes me really like kind of almost ashamed that I'm even in any form a YouTube personality, even though I don't know if I'd classify us as YouTube personalities or content creators or whatever.
I prefer the title "asshole on the internet."
Yeah, no, trust me. That's pretty much what's on my business card. But it's just like it makes me kind of ashamed to even be part of that world.
Yeah, I can see it.
But at the same time, but I know I'm not like that, and I know that there are other people that are not like that.
There's a shitload of them that aren't like that.
And then there are probably some that are totally like that, but hide it well enough that we'll never find out.
Or we don't know it yet.
Yeah, we don't know it yet.
Well, because the other thing is that this happened, and then last week, I know that this is so off the beaten path, but because I watched the Philip DeFranco show because of your wife, like I know all about.
Hey, Philip DeFranco's actually not bad.
I know all about the James
Philip DeFranco
Charles
and Markiplier. I never watched those before getting married to Amanda. I watched both of those now. So,
but like James Charles lost 3 million subscribers with his beef with the YouTube beauty blogging thing, and so I mean, like the thing is that I don't think I have a take that's any hotter than what everybody else has, which is like, what an asshole. I mean, like, this isn't one of those ones where people are arguing about it. It's just kind of like all the evidence is there. what a fucking asshole.
Yeah, like, and it's like, and you know, even me saying like, oh, I met him once, you know, that's not to say like I know him or knew his personality or like, oh, I'm shocked at this because I met him once and he seemed like such an okay dude. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just like, hey, he seemed like an okay dude. It was at a convention. Of course he's gonna be nice.
Yeah,
you know,
he didn't grab your dick instead of your hand when you said hello. Or anything.
Yeah. No, that was you know. But whatever.
Q&A later. No.
Yeah, that was at the Q&A later when he said, okay, who wants to come up on stage and I'm going to grab your dick or your vag and we'll move on.
Right.
That was later.
Yeah.
But, you know, that didn't happen.
But yeah.
Just to be clear, that did not happen.
He's an asshole.
But yeah,
I don't even see the thing is that I don't even take any like Schadenfreude with this guy because I didn't know who the fuck he was.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm just like, oh yeah, I've been upset with Pro Jared for years and now he's getting his just desserts. I'm like, I don't know. It's just some fucking douchebag on the internet who turned out to be a douchebag.
Yeah, I mean, literally, he's a YouTuber who kept popping up on my radar because he would randomly be affiliated with channels that I did follow.
Yeah,
like I said, like Screw Attack, or he helped found Normal Boots, which is what John Tron and a bunch of other guys are.
Oh, right.
I think the Did You Know gaming guys were also part of Normal Boots for a while.
Okay.
And he's done some videos for them. You know, and then I know that there was a guy like, what is it, Peanut Butter Gamer or something like that came out like hardcore defending him, and then like after 24 hours deleted all the posts and then just put fuck that guy or whatever, something to that effect. You know, like apparently he didn't understand the full situation, then found out the full situation and did a complete 180. But like it's like he's a guy that pops up on my radar, and to hear this, it's saddening because it's, you know, it's like, well, that's disappointing.
Right.
You know, that this is someone who I thought was at least okay.
Right.
You know, he's not super famous. He's not fucking PewDiePie or whatever famous, or, you know, Markiplier or whatever, but he's doing better than I ever hoped to be.
Right.
On YouTube, and he seems to be an okay dude. No, he's a complete shitbag. Well, fuck him, I guess. You know, it's like there. But you know what? The other great thing about YouTube is that there's literally 100 channels, and there's a good chance at least 6 of them are going to be okay people.
There are 100 channels on YouTube.
I'm just saying there are hundreds of other channels other than, you know, that do the same type of stuff he did.
Yeah.
And at least 12 of them have got to be okay.
Hey, look, are you looking for something funny that has to do with video games? The internet has you covered. You probably just haven't found it yet.
Yeah.
So. Anyway, let's move on. From there, we got a question coming in from Dylan. Dylan says, hey guys, so recently a thought has been going through my mind, and it's due to this. The manga High School of the Dead went on hiatus in 2011 due to the writer having health issues. In 2017, the writer died due to heart problems. The series ended on a cliffhanger, both in the manga and the anime. And I know it's often in Japan, it's most common to have the same writers and artists to maintain consistency until a series is complete, rather than how in America for comics to change writers and artists after so long. So it got me thinking, is it disrespectful or wrong for someone else to take the reins of writing a book or series or even a movie if the original writer drops out or health-related issues or death happens to them? Or should the fans receive a conclusion, whether for better or worse, with someone else taking the reins, even if from there on it wasn't the original writer's original vision? Other examples that have come to mind would be when Lucifer was canceled by Fox before Netflix picked it up, or how the Berserk series has had various long periods of hiatus from the writer due to various health problems. Should they pass before a conclusion after a story that has carried on for so long? Would it be wrong for someone else to take the reins to give the fans a conclusion? Or would it be more respectful to leave the story unfinished, as anything else wouldn't be the writer's original concept or how they wanted the series to continue or end? Thanks for my question, and as always, keep it classy. That's from Dylan. It says, P.S. Can you think of any works you enjoyed that were unfinished, and would you have wanted them to be continued with another writer, or works where a work was continued by someone else and you wish it hadn't been because it didn't have the same feel as the original creator / an unsatisfactory conclusion? Apologies for this letter being so long. So I've never read any of them, but I don't like the vibe that I've gotten from people who have read all of Brian Herbert's extended Dune stuff. Like, I really love Dune, and then apparently it was like him and another author who were just kind of cranking out all these other Dune books, which I've heard mixed things about. I've never read them. But.
So, I mean, I will say my opinion on this is, if the original writer, the original creator, came out and said, you know what, I'm not ever going to complete this. However, I want this book to continue going. I am giving it over to this person to finish writing it, and he's allowed to take it wherever he wants.
Sure.
I'm okay with it at that point.
Yeah.
The reason I'm okay with comic books is because it's comic books are a licensed thing. You're going to get multiple writers or whatever on different projects. You're never going to get the same writer. I mean, on independent stuff, yeah, you're going to get the same writer all the way through. But on your actual big name stuff, you're not going to. It's always going to change because the characters have to continue because that's what the company wants.
Sure.
The people who own the rights to the characters. So in the regards to that, if the creator's like, I have to step back, but I'm going to give the reins over to somebody else, that's fine. But if the creator's like, no, I don't, this is mine. I own it. It's mine and no one else's, and I don't want anyone else to finish it. And also, I'm never going to finish it either. I've given up on it, but I don't want anyone else to continue it. That's his choice. Sorry. Like, you're not owed more than that. You're not owed the ending you think you deserve. If that's his choice.
I think there's maybe a middle ground in there, though, where you have somebody who has not explicitly said either one way or the other.
Yeah.
And in a lot of ways, I feel like in that case, it comes to the the estate, whoever, his relatives or people that may know. It's a hard question because I don't think there's one. Again, like so many questions that we get, I don't feel like there's one hard and fast rule that can apply to every single situation.
Yeah, no, you're right. But I'm just saying, for me, it's more of a thing of if it's something where it's a creator-owned thing, like a manga or a book series,
sure,
like a novel or whatever. Like, I'll even use an example right now that's going to probably upset some people. Game of Thrones. George R.R. Martin said, hey, here's what I was going to do. Have fun with it. Do whatever you want.
Right.
And they're doing what they want. The fans that are pissed off at that, sorry, you're not owed anything different than what you're getting. George R.R. Martin may come in and do the rest of his books, which are, who knows when they're going to come out. Mm-hmm. There's all sorts of rumors and things. That's fine. But he gave them his notes and said that they could continue to end the series however they wanted using those outlines.
Yeah.
And I think he's even said that if they wanted to change things, they could.
Sure.
I think he's been on record of saying that.
Yeah.
So no one knows what is actually in George R.R. Martin's original plans or not. But I don't think that, but at the same time, it's like, if I'm writing a successful book series and then I stop and I maybe go write something else because I want to take a break from it.
Mm-hmm.
If someone else were to come out and be like, I'm writing the final book of this franchise by John Sitton and he didn't give me permission, but I was able to finagle a deal with the people who publish his books to write it, and it's the official ending to his franchise. No, fuck you.
Yeah, but
you don't get to do that.
But I feel like the question here is that if you wrote a book and you were always intending to finish that book and then you died, that if somebody came in and wanted to pick up that story, okay. So the problem that I have with this question is, again, the problem that I have with a lot of just like asking for a specific thing is that it's not a black or white thing. Yeah. Like if, say, Tuesday way. George R.R. Martin dies before he finishes the last Game of Thrones book, right?
Yeah.
But he has copious notes about it, and then the guys that wrote the Expanse series that go under the pen name, God, I can't remember what their pen name is, but they're like his personal assistants, right?
Yeah.
If they come and they say, we've got all of George's notes, we have been his personal assistants for years, we are writers ourselves, we are fans of this continuity, we are going to finish this out because we feel like people deserve an ending to this. Like, unless he specifically said, no, I don't ever, if I die before it's done, you're all fucked, then like that's fine. The problem is that then you also get into situations where you have a thing, it's a popular thing, the person who's writing it dies suddenly, and like the corporation that owns the rights to it wants to make the money from the next book, and so they just get somebody to hack out the rest of the storyline, and then suddenly you've got a thing that feels like a bad finale that's, again, to take the opposite side, not that I'm really on this side with the internet, but there's a point in Game of Thrones where you can tell the difference between them adapting books and then starting to write their own stuff, especially when everything just like speeds up to 8x, right? And so suddenly it's like there's a dramatic shift in tone, and so if you think oh, well, the series had this one tone all the way up to this one point, and then when these different creators started doing it, now it just feels completely different, and I don't like it because I liked what it was before. I can understand that. Again, everybody's entitled to like what they want or not like, what they don't like.
I agree.
It's just the problem that I have with this question is that, again, I don't feel like there's any hard and fast.
Well, I think wasn't the question
solution.
Do you think they deserve an ending?
Let's see. I mean, it was a lot of stuff. It's just, would it be wrong for someone else to take the reins and give the fans a conclusion, or would it be more respectful to leave the story unfinished, as anything else wouldn't be the writer's original concept of how they wanted the series to continue or end? The other question becomes, do we even know that George R. R. Martin, I mean, I don't know this, but does he talk to his personal assistants about this stuff? Does he have other people? I mean, a lot of times when I read a book and I get to the end, there's a whole 4 pages of thanks to so-and-so for helping you with this sort of dialogue. Thanks to this person for the technical expertise for this one chapter, yada, yada, yada. So if an author has a bunch of people they were collaborating with, and then those people can collaborate with another person, I guess to me, it depends on whether or not, if there's a clear intent. If the author says, if I die, don't continue, then you shouldn't continue. If the author says, if I die, do continue, then do continue. And if it's somewhere ambiguous in the middle, I think it all depends on what there is, right?
Yeah.
Did they have any notes for where they wanted the series to go? Did they have somebody that they constantly talked to?
So let's go with this hypothetical. And I think I have an answer here.
Yeah.
Someone's writing a book. It's the best book franchise of the world. It's the most highest selling thing ever in the existence of anything.
So Twilight.
Yes.
Okay.
The first novel comes out, biggest hit. Second novel, even bigger hit. Third novel comes out, even bigger hit than the previous 2.
Yes.
Person dies.
Right.
However, the third novel ended on a kind of a cliffhanger kind of thing, implying that there was going to be a 4th book.
Yeah.
And left a lot of plot threads open.
Sure.
Person died. No one can find any notes whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
No one knows what the next novel was going to be about.
Sure.
No one knows where any of the story was going. Literally, this person was secretive and didn't talk to anybody until the book was finished, and that's the only time they would see the first draft. But the first draft hadn't even been started on this 4th book.
Yeah.
Because they literally sent the book out to press and died that day or whatever, hypothetically.
Sure.
So this is a situation where we don't know if they would want to continue it. Mm-hmm. We don't know what their plans were.
Mm-hmm.
The family's like, well, we don't know what they were going to do, but if you want to make... at that point, if that's the situation, my opinion is just leave it alone. At that point, just leave it. I don't want someone going in and going well, this is where I think they were going to go based off the previous 3 books. In my mind, this is the fan fiction that I wrote. I think that's now. If on that same note, they die, haven't written anything for the 4th book, but there's copious notes. There's people who they've had discussions with, like a wife or whatever. Then yeah, I am perfectly okay with that. If there's a lot of notes and a lot of this is where the story was going to go. Mm-hmm. These are bullet points. There's documents of notes scribbled on napkins and papers and all sorts of other stuff.
Pepe Sylvia board.
I'm okay with that as well. Yeah. Because I'll even admit there's a comic. It's a indie comic. Not a lot of people know about it. And I feel so pretentious saying that. But the creator of it, it was a book called Skyward, though there's a newer book called Skyward that is not the same book. But it was a book called Skyward. It was a fantasy style book by an artist, writer/artist who I was a really big fan of and also friends with, named Jeremy Dale. And unfortunately, he wrote the first... I want to say he finished 7 issues, and then unfortunately died.
Yeah.
But his wife really, as kind of this, after dealing with everything, and a few years went by, she came out and said, "Hey, I have these notes. I know where he was going with the story.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a writer to come in here and put all of these in a condensed thing and release 2 more issues, the final 2. We're gonna get up to 10 issues, or 2 or 3 more issues, and we're gonna kind of speed up the book a little bit because he wrote well past that. But we found a place where we feel like it's a good ending point that implies there could be more, but this is a nice little stopping point because literally the last issue that he did kind of ended on a cliffhanger.
Right.
Like we're gonna get a different artist to come in and do the art for the rest of the book. And then I'm gonna do a Kickstarter, and we're gonna kickstart this, and if a lot of people are for it, we're gonna release this nice hardbound collection, omnibus collection of the entire story.
Okay.
I was okay with that because I knew the type of person that he was, because again, I was a friend, that he did leave notes and sketches and stuff and explanations of who characters were and all sorts of crazy things, that someone could come in and piece together a story.
Yeah.
And it still feel, as long as they knew his writing style, that it would feel continuous.
Sure.
And they're not changing anything. They're not going off and doing their own thing. They're following his Bible essentially to the letter. I'm fine with that. I'm perfectly okay with that. It's just, again, it goes back to when there's like a person dies, they haven't given permission to anyone to continue it because they didn't know they were going to die.
Right.
And there's nothing. And if someone were to come in and be like, well, there's no notes, there's no idea of where we're going.
No, I mean, I think that you and I are on the same page here. It's just that there is no rule. Right?
Yeah.
It's everything has to be taken individually, depending on all those factors, right?
Yeah.
Are there notes? Is there somebody to pick up the torch? Did they sketch out where they wanted it to go? Or did they maybe just talk to their best friend about where they wanted it to go? Or is there nothing? Was it just, and if there was nothing, then maybe not. But it really just depends on the individual situation.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't think there's a good rule. Because the problem is that anytime you make a concrete rule, then there's always a scenario that it's like, well, that doesn't adhere to the rule.
Yeah.
Speaking of rules, Detective FDR writes in and says, "Hey, Jeff and John." Says, "So guys, I feel really strongly about this. For context, I tried writing in this question when I was done, I had this whole essay written out, and I had a sobering moment of like, oh no, I can't send this wall of text to Jeff. So basically, here's the really simplified version. Thank you. Should your playstyle or habits affect a review of a game? For context, this came from my feelings on Mortal Kombat 11. I'm a Johnny Cage main. He's been a corner trapper for all of Mortal Kombat. Online, my goal as a player is to push the opponent across the screen with the shadow kick combo and then quote unquote cage them in the corner using the nut punch. That way they can't roll or wake up attack or attack out. They're forced to try something else to escape. But basically, the MKX sprint rushdown setup made Johnny the best he's ever been. And now Mortal Kombat 11 has the style of footsies. My main is trash and I hate it, LMAO. Anyway, you guys are the best. Your fan, Detective FDR.
So has my play style ever affected my opinion on a game?
Mm-hmm. So the thing is that I feel like this question almost is coming in like, I feel like the answer is, of course it should.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you play a game a certain way and suddenly the game has been changed so you can no longer play it that way, well, that's probably going to affect your enjoyment of it.
Well, I mean, I'll even go on hand and say, like, let's take, I'm going to be the first one to mention this on the podcast, and it's going to surprise me more than it surprises you probably. But Dark Souls.
What?
I
didn't even say it on podcast
I just
300.
said, that's what I said. I was like, I'm the first one to saying it.
Yep.
But so many people I know, including myself, played the game, thought it was hard.
Right.
It didn't play with the way I played games.
Yep.
So, and that made it even harder because while I'm not a button masher,
Yeah.
I do mash a little. I'm like
it's so the opposite of button mashing that even if you're just an occasional button masher, you really have to break that out of your gameplay style.
And because of the way I played it, and I mean, and that's, and so therefore I didn't like it because I didn't understand how it was supposed to be played.
Mm-hmm.
And even though now I know how it's supposed to be played, and I do understand how it's supposed to be played, and I actually understand why it's a good game and all that stuff, I still don't play it because I just don't. But it's but it took time to change that. But like playing it literally when the first Dark Souls came out, it was literally like nah, man, fuck this game. Like literally, the way I play those type of games is like walk in, slash stamina meter. What the fuck? Why is this shit dodging and parrying? Why, all this other stuff? It's like I don't no.
Hell, when I played Demon Souls, it was like, why are the attack buttons on the shoulders?
Yeah.
Like this style of game, you put the attack buttons on the face buttons. You don't put them on the fucking L1, R1 for what?
And now that's common for every fucking game.
Well, yeah.
But it's like shoulders buttons for attack. That's only done for shooters.
Yeah.
But no, like that. So yeah, that totally affected how I felt about those games for the longest time. So yeah, no, of course.
I mean, hell, I'll go back to Mortal Kombat 11, man. Melina and the cyborgs are my mains. They aren't in this game. Like, Frost is a cyborg, but she doesn't play anything like cyborgs of old.
Yeah.
And I'm playing Katana with the, like, Melina moves tacked on because that's the closest I can get to Melina in this game. And the thing is, I let me break your question down into two things. Personally, absolutely, 100%. Whether you enjoy a game or not, based on, like, if you play a game a certain way and suddenly you can't play the game like that anymore, yeah, absolutely, that should affect the way you feel about a game. Like, your feelings are valid.
Yeah.
Now, the second question is, should that be a factor for, like, a higher, like a review, like I'm reviewing this for the public, not just like what I think here in my house, and maybe less so, like, if Johnny Cage is balanced and can be played, if he can't play him the way that you like to play him, well, I mean, the thing about fighting games...
It's a different game.
It's a different game, right? Yeah, it's like... Sometimes they change the way people in Mortal Kombat play, and I don't like, or actually, Street Fighter play, and I don't like that either.
And I'll even say that this is also a reason why a lot of people who just create their own YouTube channels and review shit, why their reviews aren't as... They're either it's either complete garbage or it's the greatest game ever made in a lot of
Steam
cases.
system.
Yeah, it's because when you actually look at people who do reviews in video game magazines or whatever, while yes, you will occasionally get the review where it's very clear the person's playing the game wrong and just hates the game because of it.
Sure.
Generally, what'll happen is, in most cases, from what I understand of most magazines, if someone is cognizant of them being like, this game is like, I play this type of game and this game is not that type of game, and I am just not grasping it, can we hand the review off to somebody else who can grasp it?
Yep.
Sometimes they'll review it and they'll hand in their... I've even heard stories of reviewers doing reviews. They hand it to their editor reviews it, and it's like, I played this game and I did not have the experience you had. We can't release this. Like, we have to have someone else look at it. Yep. Or I know one magazine, I can't remember what, I think it might have been EGM, where they would actually have like the main reviews and then they would have the second opinion review, which is someone else who...
Like a little thing with all the headshots where it was just
could have been Game Informer,
a score from 4 or 5 different other people of just being like, well, I thought it was a 3.
And like they get like a little 1 or 2 paragraph of why they thought differently, or what they thought of the game. Like, that's I feel like that's kind of partially because of that as well, so that you can try to get... But I feel like most not professional reviewers are not able to look at games objectively. They're only able to look at the games the way they play them, and that's honestly why we don't really review games, because if we don't like a game because of the way it plays, because of the way we play it,
Well, okay, so to go back, this actually ties into another question that I think we'll just jump into right after this, but like 2 things. One, Rage 2 came out this week, and when it came out, I went online to like look at like what are people saying about Rage 2. And here's the thing, is that like on Steam, what I was seeing was it had a mixed review on Steam, and it was like, this game has de novo, thumbs down. And I'm like, okay, but de novo is one thing, right? Like, and I know that you guys want to try to review bomb this until id and Bethesda take de novo out of that game, because that's that always online copy protection thing that they put in like Sonic Mania. And I understand people don't like that, right? But you've literally only told me one thing about this game, right? You've said thumbs down, this game has de novo, or thumbs down, this game has microtransactions. But like, I went and looked in Rage 2, you can't buy the at least as near as I can tell, like, you can buy Rage tokens in the store for real money, and then there's a store in the game that you can spend those Rage tokens at that you can literally buy weapon skins off of. Like, you can't buy guns, you can't buy the currency you use to upgrade, you can't pay to win in that game. But people are like, this game has microtransactions, thumbs down. And it's like, okay, but what about the rest of it, right? Like, what about the rest? What about the story? What about the driving? What about the combat? What about the weapons? I could see giving this game a 6 out of 10 and saying, the story wasn't great. I didn't like the driving. The weapon combat was pretty good. Decent visuals at times, and I had a lot of fun with it, but not the best experience in the world. 6 out of 10, right? That tells me a lot.
Yeah.
But just putting down game has de novo 0 on Metacritic doesn't tell me anything other than whether or not Rage 2 has de novo. And that's one of the, like, to go to Detective FDRRR, right? Like, and I'm not saying that you did this. Please, I'm not jumping on you, Detective. But like, if you wrote a review for Mortal Kombat 11, which was Johnny Cage is now footsie instead of corner trap, 0 out of 10. It's like, well, what about the other 14 fighters, right? Is there another fighter that can corner trap as well as Johnny Cage used to be able to that you might be able to be using instead? What about the towers? What about everything that's not this one specific item that you're? So that's the problem that I get into a lot of times with gaming and with the way that people review games online, is that it's like, if you only review the game from one point, like from this one perspective, like, I know there's plenty of people out there, like, if a game has any kind of microtransaction, they're just like, it's a 0. And it's like, well, a 0 is I don't even know what games deserve a 0. Like, some of those Steam games that are really shitty deserve a 0.
I don't know if you saw it, but I posted in the Patreon video. Kotaku
in the Discord,
the Discord, the Patreon Discord or whatever. Kotaku has a video content creator, Tim Rogers.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of. He did a video that was pizza reviews versus video game reviews.
I did watch that one, actually.
And holy fucking shit, that stuff is great.
Yep. Yeah, it's good.
It's a lot of the same stuff that we're talking about here.
Basically, what I've come down to is that, like, you just can't. I mean, like, I just can't trust what people on Steam say, and I can't trust what the user reviews on Metacritic are. And in a lot of cases, I can't trust. Sometimes I can't even trust, like, big outlet reviews.
Yeah, no, I agree.
It's like I need to read it, and then I got to read between the lines, and then I can figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, the thing is that Rage 2 is a mediocre game. It's like a 6 out of 10, or maybe a 5. But the thing is that it's not that way because of de novo. It's not that way because of microtransactions. It's that way because the story is meh, the gameplay, the combat is good, the driving doesn't do anything for me, and so there are a lot of reasons, but it's not just this 0. I feel like we live in this world where a lot of people, when they quote unquote review stuff on the internet, if there's anything. Hell, you know what? I saw some people on Steam that were giving this a thumbs down because they were like, well, the single-player campaign is only about 10 hours long, and there's only about 10 extra hours of additional Radiant content outside of that. And if I'm going to pay $60 for a game, I deserve more than 20 hours of entertainment. Thumbs down. And it's like, well, that's so subjective, and it doesn't tell me anything. Like, if I don't care about how long the content of the game is, then your review has told me nothing. It's told me literally nothing about what I want to know about this game.
Yeah.
Which is it fun? Not does it have microtransactions? Not does it have de novo? Not is it only 20 hours long? But is it any fun? So anyway, let's jump over to this other question that kind of deals a little bit with this as well. And then John can rant.
Sure.
Let's see. Kate Josie writes in and says, Dear Jeff and John, I will not talk spoilers, I swear. My question is about the division of fans with Game of Thrones, Endgame, and The Last Jedi receiving heat by some fans. Why is it the people are dead set on wanting someone to hate a thing because they hate it? Again, no spoilers. I like The Last Jedi, and I agree completely with your conversation about Endgame. Why can't fans let other fans like a thing? Is the internet giving everyone an equal voice regardless of the content? Is it the popularity of fandom as a whole? This message is a bit all over the place, I know, but I don't really know what to think of it all. Thank you guys for being my happy beacons of fandom. That's from Kate Josie. Any thoughts, John?
I don't know. Like, I know, but I have a hard time like transferring it into words.
I think that everybody thinks that
everyone wants to be right.
Yeah.
And if I hate something and Jeff likes it, well, then one of us has to be wrong.
Right.
And therefore I need to prove which one of us is wrong so that I can be right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, your brain is not a computer. Your brain your brain is trying to keep you alive. And like everyone out there, like Kate Josie, think about it this way. You ever known two of your friends that dated, and when they broke up, they were telling stories about each one of them, and you're like, that doesn't sound anything like the person that I know. Like what you're describing doesn't sound anything like the actual human being that I know. And I feel like a lot of times it's because people's brains, your brain wants you to stay alive and reproduce. It doesn't want you to get all introspective and weird and then get freaked out and not do anything anymore unless you have mental illness. I don't know. I've been talking about this for years, and with the whole Game of Thrones thing, it came up. I've kind of come to the decision that it's like people want other people to think the same way that they do. Like if you've ever talked, like I had a friend who was this like super skinny guy. He was like 120 pounds, like 6'3". He was just rail thin. He obviously had just like a super metabolism, right? And I remember talking with him about like my weight and like issues that I've had with how much I weigh over time. And he's like, oh, well, I just eat a lot of vegetables and like olives and like good stuff like that and just olive oil and stuff. And he was trying to be helpful, but he was completely disregarding the fact that like your body is completely different than my body. And I feel in a lot of ways that a lot of the way that people on the internet feel is that they've completely they assume that everybody thinks the same way, or that everybody likes the same kind of things. Like so many of these things with like Avengers or Game of Thrones or Last Jedi or whatever, the way that people have these concerns, and I'm just like, you were thinking that much while you were watching this movie? Like when I watch a movie, I just like sit back, right? I turn my brain off and watch the movie. I'm not like, hey, now wait a minute. In a previous scene, that person said they were going to be there in 45 minutes. And if I do the math, it seems like it's been an hour since they had that conversation.
Well, I don't do that, but I will sometimes think, well, that's weird. But then I'll kind of just forget it until the movie's ended. And then I'll be like, okay, that weird thing that I caught, But even then, like, it's not, you're right. Like when you're watching the movie, you kind of, unless something happens that completely takes you out of it, like a boom mic dropping into frame and staying in frame for the entire fucking scene, that shit pulls me right out, and all I can see is the boom mic.
Yeah. It's very infrequently that I ever get that analytical about a movie.
Yeah.
As long as the movie isn't, I think the last movie that did that was Prometheus, where I just was like, why are you guys doing any of this? This seems like a really bad decision, all these things that you're doing. But and I'm not saying that that's like that what I'm saying is the right way and that you're watching movies wrong or anything. I guess I'm saying is that we're all different people. Yeah. And that I think that everybody has an instinctive desire to try to make other people like themselves. And I'm not entirely sure what that's about.
It's also, again, aside from the I want to be right.
Right.
And if you like something and I hate something, or if you hate something and I like something, I need to prove that you're wrong so that I'm justified in my opinion. But people also want to be applauded for that opinion. Like, I'm right, this is why, and the fact that I've shown you the right way, you should thank me for showing you it. This kind of goes back to something that just popped in my head, and this is a long time ago, very long time ago, on the Rage Select website, where someone tried to change my opinion about something.
Yeah.
And they hardcore were just like, no, you're wrong. And I was like, well, they were like, well, I want to know why. Why do you like this thing that you like? And I explained it. I explained it very eloquently. I pointed out all my points, bullet point presentation, PowerPoint, everything, whatever you want to call it. Yep. Posted videos that also way more eloquently pointed out my position on it. And then his answer was, but what you like is stupid because I think it's stupid, so you need to stop wasting your time with it.
Yeah.
And you need to thank me for revealing this to you.
Yeah.
And it's like, no.
This person, they literally thought they were doing you a favor, that you were wasting your life by spending your spare time engaging in this hobby that they did not agree with.
Yeah.
And that that they were going to take it upon themselves to ridicule your hobby or just a thing. It'd be like, ridicule a thing that you liked until you didn't like it so that you could go do more interesting and important things with your life than having this one
Yeah.
pastime.
And I think what's funny about it is like literally everything he told me was stuff I've heard from other places.
Of course.
Before. And literally I rebutted every little thing, and I interacted with them because I literally was just kind of like, you know what, I want to see where this goes.
Yeah.
Like there was nothing this person could have said that was going to change my mind, and I made it very clear at the beginning that there was nothing he could say that would change my mind. And I even admitted that there's probably nothing that I was going to say that was going to change his mind about it as well.
True.
But and I feel like that's kind of the thing, is that people feel like their opinion is the only opinion that matters, and they need to share that. I mean, that's why we do fucking videos or talk about shit online anyways, is because we want people to see how smart we are. We want people to see, and it's not even sometimes it's not even a conscious thing. Like it's it's not even a conscious thing of like, I want people to hear my opinions and know how right I am. I like to talk, so I like doing podcasts and doing videos on the internet because I like to talk, and maybe someone might find something that came out of my mouth funny. Sometimes it's something that's stupid, and people make fun of me for it and actually like attack me for saying, and that's perfectly fine. I put it out there for that.
Yep.
But it's and that's a little bit off topic, but it's the fact that I really feel like it's people want to, A, they want to prove that they're right, and B, they want you to praise them for revealing this thing that you may not have known, or maybe you did know and you agreed just like them, so you're like, high five, we agree,
right.
Kind of thing. But also they want it, and even if it's a thing where you liked a movie and this person likes a movie, and they're like, but I'm going to reveal this other aspect of this movie that you may not have known about, and it's going to blow your mind, because they want you to be like, oh man, I never thought of it that way. You're so smart.
And sometimes that stuff literally is that.
Yeah.
Where you're like, holy shit, I didn't actually ever think about that. That's cool. Like, there are positive aspects to that as well. But then, like, the same guy I was talking about before with the whole eating thing, like, since I knew him since high school, and he had a major case of the just like, I don't like anything because of how smart I am thing as well, which I'm not saying that that's what everybody is, but like there's definitely also a thing of just like I can't believe that you thought of, what you're telling me, the plot holes in Avengers Endgame didn't completely ruin it for you, you dunce. Like, and I've gotten way over that because there's always somebody that doesn't like the thing that you like. The problem that I'm having recently is that it seems like the internet is being more and more just like, we can't like anything anymore. That like there's not a single thing where we can all just agree like, that was pretty good. There's always just somebody there to be like, well, actually.
What I think is actually really funny is like with, and I'm going to use Game of Thrones as an example here.
Okay.
And I'm not going to talk about plot or anything like that, but I'm talking Game of Thrones as the example because I think it's actually really funny. So on the internet, we have thing where people are like, I love this thing. It's so great. And then the people who are like, I hate this thing, and this is why I hate it, like just come out. But the people who hate it are in the minority, and they're like, well, clearly we're smarter than the majority of the people because we hate this thing that you like.
Right.
With Game of Thrones, it almost seems like the opposite. Like the people who are like, I hate this thing, and then now those people who hated everything are like, but I liked it because it totally made sense, and you're an idiot because I liked it, and it seems like this weird inverse thing has happened. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong to like or hate the thing that was going on in Game of Thrones or whatever. Who fucking cares? I don't watch the show, but and I think that there are people who legitimately like that what happened, and people who legitimately hated what happened, and that's perfectly fine if you have those opinions. I just think it's kind of funny that we're seeing this weird, almost social switch of everyone hates something, and then there's a small group of people that come in and attacks them because they liked it.
Right. Yeah.
As opposed to everyone likes something, and then there's a small group of people who come and attack them because they hated it.
Absolutely. Spider-Verse. I don't think I met anybody who hated Spider-Verse.
No.
I think everybody liked Spider-Verse. Yeah, I don't know. It's a thing. It's just, it seems like it's been one of them there months between, and to be honest, like there weren't a lot of people that were down on Endgame. Most everybody liked Endgame. My parents went and saw Endgame. They thought it was great, but then like Mortal Kombat came out and there was all that stuff, and it were just Game of Thrones. It gets to be really tiring and especially because I like to sometimes look at these videos about like, here's why I thought Game of Thrones was bad. but like if you look at one of those on YouTube, then YouTube is like, ooh, do you want to see everybody on the internet calling everything you love bad? Here, I've got thousands of videos. Would you like to watch them? And I'm like, no, YouTube, no. I just wanted to see one of them. Fuck's sake.
Yeah. What was it? Polygon had an article that I thought was really funny today, and I was like, oh, they're preemptively getting their hate out, which was, I liked The Last Jedi, and clearly based on this one trailer that we've had and the title of the movie, Rise of Skywalker is going to be the biggest garbage fire in the history of all Star Wars movies, and that upsets me.
It also, I mean,
and it's like what why? Why are you doing this?
It also is worth noting, I just thought of this, that like we live in an age where your opinion could literally make you money, right? Where like you can start up a YouTube channel. I've seen so many YouTube channels that are just like, and goddamn it, here come the downvotes, but that are just like anti-SJW YouTube channels, and they basically do what a lot of places do, where every day they look to find the most ridiculous stories they can find. They talk about them for 45 minutes. They've got a Patreon. They get super chats on Google, the YouTube Live, and that's how they make enough money to pay their rent and go on with their thing. So, like, literally, them disliking the last episode of Game of Thrones is paying their rent.
Yeah.
And that's also a weird thing, because I don't think that we've lived in an era, like, podcast gets a little bit more judgy, but on regular Rage Select, I feel like we're mostly like, I built this city out of dick jokes like that. We're trying to be funny over here, not to just be like, can you believe the tits on these Mortal Kombat bitches? But you can make the channels that do that. Oh, they're way more popular than Rage Select. The channels that talk about the SJWs, they're way more popular
because they get the people who are like, yeah, I agree with that. I'm going to support these guys.
Right.
And you also get the people who watch it to hate watch it.
Yep.
Like, fuck these guys and their opinions. I'm going to watch their videos so I can be upset and post in the comments about how stupid they are.
Yeah. So that's just another thing that's different now, right? You hating on Game of Thrones can literally be making you money. There's a guy, I don't like to promote other people. I was watching some guy that did like a 2-hour live stream after the end of Game of Thrones with somebody else, where he was doing it on YouTube, where you get super chats. And I mean, I swear to God, like every 20 seconds, it was like $5, $10, $15, $10, $5, $10. Like that guy probably made more in that 2 hours on YouTube bitching about the last episode of Game of Thrones than I make like half a month of puppet videos and all these, podcasts and whatnot. So it's like, fuck, man. I mean, that'll make you money, and that didn't used to be a thing that would literally make you money if you were just didn't like a thing. Anyway, we're getting way over time here, so let's try to answer a few of these really quickly. Dirac writes in and says, Jeff, I've become obsessed with homemade hot sauce and have too much. Want some? I don't really eat hot sauce because I'm a wiener when it comes to spicy foods. John, do you want somebody's homemade hot sauce?
No.
Okay.
No offense.
No offense, Dirac. I don't think you don't. Do you do hot sauce?
Yeah. Depends.
Yeah. Let's see. Jonathan Scratch writes in and says, Dear Jeff and John, I apologize. This is a pretty Jeff-focused question. Rumors have been circulating recently about From Software's next projects. Two in particular I find very interesting. The first is the James S.A. Corey. That's the guys. The pen name of Daniel Abram and Ty Franick of the Expanse books. Consulted with them recently on a sci-fi world building. The other is that From wants to make an open-world game with lore written by George R.R. Martin. At this point, I could give little to no fucks about Martin writing up their lore, but am interested in what an open-world game by From Software would look like. Your thoughts? Crazy speculation, complete bullshit. Understandable. This is some third-hand information on my part. Keep being badass. And this is P.S. Jeff, if you want some tips for the final boss of Sekiro, I can write up a guide. I think I could do a decent job, and I will not tell you to get good. It will be in-depth with phase-by-phase strategies and not the length of a fucking dissertation. Took me literal several days to beat that fucker, and I don't want that for anyone else. Plus, I can't find a single decent guide for him online. If you do, just say so, and I'll send it in an email to Rage Select for your use. It's the one toke over the line. Sweet Jesus, say no more. Thanks for countless hours of joy you have brought into my life. John, scratch out. I know how to beat him. It's just that, I know how to beat him. It's just my fingers aren't fast enough, and if you fuck up twice, then you're dead. So, it's more of I've already seen cheese dick strategies of if you run around for 40 minutes, you can just hit him one time. I don't want to do that either. I don't know. Sekiro just bums me out now. Just bums me out. Do you think Dark Souls is an open world game? I mean, you can kind of go wherever you want to, right? Like it's not a. It's like technically it's an open world. Like it's not a level. Like you can kind of revisit parts of it. Like it kind of depends on what an open world game is. But I kind of think of those games as open world games.
Because I mean, you can go anywhere. I mean, they're kind of. I mean, if anything, they're closer to maybe like a Metroidvania kind of thing where you can literally go anywhere. It's just certain areas may be gated until you do certain things.
Or maybe it's like it's open world, like Hitman is open world, where it's a smaller but more nuanced open world.
I do think that when people are saying open world, they're meaning like gigantic,
like
Red Dead size,
Ghost Recon,
and
Division type of stuff. I mean, I'm actually interested in both of those. I think it would be really interesting to see. One of the weird things is that a lot of the From Software games have the same story.
Yeah.
And I think it's because Miyazaki's been at the helm of so many of them, but like the whole kind of death, rebirth, resurrection thing, like, Dark Souls had all that. Bloodborne had it, even though it had a little bit more dreamy. Bloodborne's probably the most original of those in story-wise. And even Sekiro, had a whole coming back to life after you died type of thing. And, it was handled differently, but it was still kind of that same thing. So I'm interested to see what maybe some new blood.
I'm interested to see what they would do with the sci-fi setting.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I'd love to see a science fiction take. I mean, what was Armored Core, I guess?
Yeah,
would be
that's the closest
thing they've done. There's these old mock-ups that have been on the internet for a long time about like what would a Dark Souls game look like if it was set in the modern day. And I always thought that they looked really interesting. So it's just like Streets of Tokyo Dark Souls, basically. But yeah, I don't know. I'm into both of those. Like, as you guys know, I'm not just like a hardcore, every game's got to be a Souls game guy.
So their next game is going to be called Grand Theft Souls?
Grand Theft Souls. Yeah. You just jump in somebody else's soul and then drive it away.
Yeah, no. You just like stab them and take their soul.
You take the soul out, you drag them out of their card. And then
it's like a GTA style game, but with a Dark Souls mentality.
Yeah. No, I play that. I totally play that. Boy, we got too many questions this week. Let's see. Mr. Introspective says, Dong Lords and Firecrotch High Priestess says, other than the Souls games, what games do you revisit? Be they for nostalgic reasons or just a world you love to fool around in. After all the announcements of the new Persona 5 games, I caught Persona Fever and now diving back into my quest to platinum Persona 5. Love this game so much, I just wanted to experience again. That's from Mr. Introspective. What games do you tend to go back and play, John? That are not Souls games. I know you play the Souls games all the time, but
yeah. Alan Wake, Ghostbusters, the video game.
Right on.
I've recently went back to play Until Dawn again.
Okay.
Because the Game Informers had a lot of stuff about their new Man of Medan. Yeah, Man of Medan or whatever it's called, which I'm like super like excited for. Mm-hmm. So I started playing Until Dawn again. I tend to play like shorter games. I'll sometimes replay.
Absolutely.
Also, like games I can shut off my brain and just play.
Yeah.
Like, I've gone back to play the Borderlands games, and sometimes I'll go back and play, stuff that it just depends on what mood I'm in. Mm-hmm. But I would say that the games that I've gone back to play the most are probably Alan Wake, and Ghostbusters, the video game. And there's probably like a few other like indie games or whatever that I've played here and there. Punch Out, I'll play a lot of. If
OG NES Punch Out?
Yeah, OG NES Punch Out. And then
is that Mike Tyson or Mr. Dream?
Either or. I'm not really particular.
Okay.
Like some people, I have I own Mike Tyson's Punch Out like cartridge, but if all I have available to me is the Mr. Dream version, that's fine.
Okay.
I've sometimes gone back and played Castlevania Symphony of the Night, but I've never been good at those games.
Every time Symphony of the Night, like it'll come up and I'll just be like, oh, I'm just going to start playing this. And then I'm like, all right, I'm just going to beat this game. Like, there's a certain point in that game where the momentum starts to just be like, well, I should just go ahead and finish this entire game. Kind of want to play Symphony of the Night now.
Phoenix Wright.
Mm-hmm.
Though it's funny because I've only played the first Phoenix Wright game. I've never played any of the others. And I'm currently in the middle of replaying the first one.
Are you playing the collection on the PlayStation?
Yeah. And it's funny because I played the first Phoenix Wright game like 6 times.
Yeah.
So I'm replaying it for like the 7th. And I've never played any of the other games, so I'm going to play 2 and 3 for the first time. But yeah, no, it's so, I mean, those are kind of the games that I tend to go back and play.
I mean, you guys know Dark Souls, Bloodborne, those ones. But outside of that, I keep Hitman installed because they have the elusive targets and some of the challenges, and I like to go back and do those. I can't have Injustice 2 installed on my PlayStation, or else I will just play it and play it and play it and play it and play it. And I think that Mortal Kombat might be the same thing, where it's just like on Monday I felt really bad because I didn't sleep a lot last week, and I was just really out of it. And I was like, I'm just going to play a little Mortal Kombat 11 because somebody wrote a big thing in the Discord server about it being garbage or something. And then I just ended up spending the entire day just playing the towers of Mortal Kombat 11 because, I like that game.
It's what you do.
Yeah. Kerbal Space Program, go back to that every so often. Yeah. A lot of times it's what you were saying, where if it's like a 6 or 8 hour game, I might finish it or like go back and play it. Like I went back and played Titanfall recently. The main thing is just there's so many new games that come out that I don't have time to go back. The only other thing is when I listen to the Bonfireside Chat, the Watch Out for Fireballs, and every time those guys do a show about a thing, it always makes me want to go back and play it. So they'll do a show on, like BioShock Infinite, and I'm like, hey, it's been a while since I played BioShock Infinite. I should go back and play that. BioShock, though, first BioShock is another one of those where if I start it, I'm probably going to finish it. I'm probably going to play it all the way through to the end. All right, let's do a couple more here. Septum Sin says, "Dear Rage Lords, I've been working slowly, grinding in." I swear to God, I didn't pick these out. I'm just reading them. Dark Souls, 1 day a week, mainly scared of the game's reputation. Finally getting to the gargoyles and defeating them for the first time with no issue. Yet I'm back again, grinding due to worry about the next boss. Are there games that by reputation have made you paranoid enough to grind before fighting a boss for the first time? Did you need to grind for it at the end of the day? Your Patreon, Septum Sin. You have a game where you're just like, man, I got to get like 8 more levels before I kill this boss.
I'm sure there was at some point. I can't think of what it would be.
I think I'll always try a boss, and then if I wipe, then
I think that's closer to what I do. Is like I'll just play it, and if I get to the boss, like, oh, okay, I get to play that. And then if it's a thing where like, oh, I'm clearly not high enough for that, I'll go back and grind.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've ever like been like, oh man, I can't go to that guy because I'm like level 6, and I hear you got to be level 30 to be that guy to beat that guy. I've never done that.
Yeah, me neither. Dan Case has mentioned it in the other Discord server, but I thought I'd drop it in again as a podcast question. What game has your favorite FPS mechanics in recent memory? Not favorite FPS, but game with your favorite shooting. And that's from Dan K. Doom.
Yeah, I think I'd probably also say Doom.
Man, Doom was slick. That was such a good take on the ammo with the glory kills and the getting health and moving and shoot in the way that it would parcel out ammo, so you had to keep changing between the different weapons, and how it's like it was like 4 weapons and then 4 weapons, but then they all like 2 of each of the weapons share ammo with each other. So if you're using the chain gun, it's going to deplete your assault rifle bullets faster. Man, what a beautiful system. And then I keep saying it, and everybody on Rage Slate knows it. Everybody on Rage Slate knows it. But like, I'm still waiting for somebody to make something as compelling as that skill kill system in Bulletstorm was. Like, that was just such a, by tying upgrades to doing various stunts, it's like that makes me want to try to do the stunts. So I'm like, man, if I see a cactus, I'm going to throw a grenade at a guy, and when he bounces towards me, I'm going to kick it back into that cactus and get whatever that fucking Holy Ghost thing is or whatever. And like that was such a brilliant way to make you play, because you could just go through Bulletstorm and just shoot everybody, but like the more you do those things and the crazier things get, then you get the like, what was it, like the pistol where you cock it, and then when you hit the people with them, they fly up in the air like a firework and then explode into big blood fireworks. That game is great. It's so good. Why are people can fly not allowed to make another Bulletstorm, John?
I don't know.
Rage 2 is like almost.
What are people can fly doing nowadays?
I think they got bought. Well, they made the Gears of War Judgment, Microsoft bought them and made them do that. I think Gearbox owns them now, because they got bought up. And I think that they're working on. What are they working on? Are they working on Borderlands? I bet they're working on Borderlands. Gears of War 3, Gears of War Judgment, Bulletstorm Full Clip, Fortnite Save the World? Is that the...
I think that's the story mode for Fortnite.
Oh, okay. And then they had a game called Come Midnight that was canceled that was out in 2007. I don't see if there's anything
All right, well,
that they're working on right now.
who knows?
Yeah, no, I think they're independent at the moment, actually.
Okay.
And they made Painkiller. Epic Games has acquired a majority share in the company in 2007. 2015, they became independent. So they're independent right now. Oh, what if at E3 there's a new fucking Bulletstorm 2 gets announced? Yeah!
Don't get your hopes up.
More!
Maybe they'll announce a new Painkiller game.
Grrr! Oh, yeah. What wasn't that? Wait, wasn't there another kind of like... No, wait, they did announce something, right? It was like at E3 and it was like a supernatural. It was like in a graveyard. There was a trailer for it. It was like a grave.
I don't remember.
Leaves came out and oh no, there was something. They did announce something. I wonder why it wasn't there.
Maybe that was the canceled thing.
Oh, maybe so. All right, we got some short questions here. Let's just roll through the rest of these. Brandon writes in and says, hello, Rage Masters. Speaking to us bastards. Brandon here with one of them questions. This one's mainly for you, Jeff. How do you manage to play all these games and still have time to watch TV and movies and read? I literally have one hobby anymore with work, gym, and gaming, and I have no time to see movies or anything else. I could play less games, but of course that's my preferred hobby. Just wonder how you do it. Thanks for your hard work. And that's from Brandon. Got a secret for you, Brandon. It's my job.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say, it's like he literally, he has... that's his job, just to play video games. So he has this, he times himself out like, this is where I'm playing these video games, and this is the time that I have to do whatever else I want.
Oh, you make me sound so much more put together than I am.
I'm trying to be kind.
No, I like. Okay, so your question, you say I literally have one hobby anymore with work, gym, and gaming. I don't go to the gym, and gaming is my work, and reading is my hobby. And that's how it works out.
Oh, trust me, I have a hard time. Like I work 40 hours a week, sometimes less than 40 hours, just because things are slow.
Yeah.
But it literally, I spend my days like each day I kind of have to go. Do I watch a movie? If I don't watch a movie, do I watch an episode of Murder, She Wrote? If I don't watch an episode of Murder, She Wrote, do I watch YouTube videos? Do I watch some other TV show that's newer than Murder, She Wrote? Do I play a video game? And some names it's like, nope, I'm only going to play this. I'm going to use the Wednesday as my video game day. I'm going to play video games. Thursday, I'm going to record podcasts with Jeff, so I'll just go home and watch YouTube videos because I don't have time to do anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes it's like, let's go to the movies. Let's, do all this other stuff. So it's literally,
yeah.
And I don't play half as many video games as Jeff does.
I don't finish that many anymore, to be honest. Like I've gotten into a point where I used to try to finish everything that I started. And nowadays it's like, if a game is fun or if I can tell it's going to be less than 20 hours, I'll probably try to finish it. But I mean, I don't to play a lot of these all the way to the end. That's why I loved Mortal Kombat 11 so much. Story mode was like 4 hours long.
Yeah.
And it was like, now you can just play towers forever. And I'm like, yay, full review of Mortal Kombat 11. Ben writes in and says, hey, Jeff John, loving Puppet Theater. Please do more. So question for the podcast. I know you love Platinum games on this site, but my first exposure to Platinum was with the not terribly good Legend of Korra game. Considering you've expressed love for the developer, but also admit that they've made some garbage, what are some things that Platinum Studios is good at doing, and what are some things that they suck at or need to improve on? And that's a broad question, but between Platinum and NetherRealm, I've been torn between elements I really love in their games and elements that I despise. Would love discussion on this. Also, the apparent success of Detective Pikachu. What are some side stories or spin-offs to major video game properties that you think would make better movies than the main franchise? Love you guys, from Ben. Ben, we're out of time, so I'm probably not going to do that second one. But good things about Platinum Games. John?
They make really good third-person games. I mean, if you look at obviously they're all the same. I think the same director, but Bayonetta and Vanquish and things like that. I think they're really good. I do think that they kind of
and Platinum or Vanquish the same guy.
I think. But I mean, they may not be. But I'm just saying, like, they may be. There may be some like team similarities, but they may not be the same director. I don't know. I think that when they are original properties, when they are original and the original IPs, I think they put their all into to them, and they make them really good. When they're licensed games, they kind of half-ass it.
Yeah, because like Korra, I think Transformers Devastation is okay.
Yeah.
But like the Ninja Turtles game and Star
that was
Fox,
garbage. Yeah.
But then they also did all the combat for Nier Automata. That one was good.
Yeah.
I mean, it was okay. And then, Astral Chain isn't out yet. We got Bayonetta and all those other things. I mean, a lot of it is just before. I keep forgetting that Infinite Space was a Platinum Games joint. That was like
Space, which was
a Nintendo DS. Like you're on a starship. It's a spaceship RPG.
Weird.
Like it's not even an action game.
Like I know Wonderful 101 was really good. Like I said, anything that was like original IP, where it was like they came up with the idea, they created it, they worked on it, usually pretty good. Their licensed games, with a few exceptions, have kind of all been garbage.
Just for the record, not to. The internet will want to correct you, but Kamiya, who made, I believe, Devil May Cry.
Yeah, no, I know, yeah.
Made Bayonetta, but Vanquish was Shinji Mikami.
You're right.
Was,
I think there might be, like I said, I think there were some teams, members of the same team, but it was a different director. So yeah. I get my information mixed up. But I think they're really good at third-person action games.
Yeah.
And I think that they know what they're doing with those. I think that's why the Transformers Devastation game ended up being as okay as it was, because they're really good at that, because that was a third-person action game.
Yeah.
But like I said, when it comes to...
You also have to wonder, okay, like when you think about the games that they've made that haven't been that good, like Korra and I'll put Transformers in there, Transformers and Ninja Turtles, like... How free of a reign did they have to write their own story? I mean, look at what happens in Bayonetta, or Vanquish for that matter, right?
Yeah.
Like, did they have the ability to kill off half the Transformers if they wanted to in the Transformers game, or were they like under strict rules to do very specific things, and so they just ended up doing what they could instead of doing what they maybe wanted to do? So they did Mad World. Oh no, they did Anarchy Reigns. Anarchy Reigns kind of sucks.
Well, Anarchy Reigns and Mad World, if I'm not mistaken, are both part of the same franchise.
Yes, they are. That's why I was looking. But I just remember playing Anarchy Reigns, and it was okay. It was all right. But yeah, I mean, I feel like they're like any other company where they have their ups and they have their downs.
Yeah.
So,
and as proof by pretty much every major company, every company that like BioWare, not doing so great right now. Fucking Obsidian, doing really great right now, where they previously had maybe not have done so great. So it's like it fluctuates for every company.
Hell, I was saying this last week. Look at Bethesda. What has happened to Bethesda? Like, it used to be that when a Bethesda game came out, you were like, hooray! And now it's just like, oh my god, what the fuck is going on with you guys? Between, Fallout 76 and Blades and, even the hate that people have for Rage 2, it's like, hey, vey, just woof, woof. All right, one more question, then we're going to wrap it up here. Vova says, hello, lovely Jeff and sexy John. Hope you're doing good this week. Recently, I've been on a bit of a downer. What do you do when you've had a really bad week /month /time that help you get through it and maybe stay optimistic? Thanks for all your hard work. Thanks for all that you do for us. Loyal fan and patron, Vova.
I think I've answered this question before.
Yeah.
And my answer is I decompress and kind of read comics, watch a movie, play a video game. Sometimes it doesn't even have to be like a one that I've played or read or watched before. It just could be something new.
Yeah.
And other times it's just, putting on something old and that I know is going to be good, like watching Murder, She Wrote, as I brought up, because I'm in season 3 of a 12-season series.
Are you only in season 3 of Murder, She Wrote?
Yeah.
You watched it for like 6 months, John.
Only 3.
Oh. But you're only in season 3?
Yeah, well, I only watch it when Amanda's there to watch, so it's not like I'm like marathoning through it. There's 12 seasons plus 4 made-for-TV movies, so I've got time. I'm going to be watching this for a while.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'll watch like an old show that I know I liked, or watch a movie that I know that I loved, or play a video game that I know that I loved, or read a comic that I know that I loved. So it's kind of sometimes just listen to music. And then other times it's just spending time with Amanda and the dog, with my dog. Like that's sometimes that's all it takes. It's just one look of my goofy dog looking at, giving me an attitude face, and everything's right in the world.
I'm going to say all that, and then I'll also say give yourself some little wins. Cook a meal, clean up your living room, vacuum, do some laundry, do some small stuff that are achievements, but that aren't necessarily super difficult. And a lot of times that can give you just a little pump up, a little boost. You're just like, yeah, my kitchen is clean now. I did that. Look how clean my kitchen is. That feels good. So give that a try. But yeah, the main thing is just don't be alone for a huge amount of time. Try talking to other people. Like a lot of times that helps as well. And with that, we're going to finish 300 podcasts. Will there be a 301st? Maybe.
Tune in next week.
You'll have to.
Same rage time.
Yep.
Same rage channel.
mail@ragesite.com is the email address. I wonder if there'll be a podcast to answer your questions. Maybe you'll have to send in a question about whether there's a podcast, and then we'll have to see how we answer that if there's a podcast, or maybe there won't be a podcast. John, are you doing anything at this point? You want to talk about anything? No. Okay. Well, that's it. It's in honor of our 300th podcast. Should we go back to calling this the Don Matrick Memorial Podcast? I mean, we got all these people out in the world.
If we wanted to be more topical, we could just call it the Randy Pitchford shit storm podcast.
Yep. The Randy Pitchford
shit storm.